Welcome to the Pesky Report. This is not, I mean, I don't know. Do we have an episode number for this? Because we're doing it in two parts. A little different, and I've confirmed that the vertical layout is not going to be a complete disaster. So we're good. We don't have to delete the Twitter feed. I'm Jordan, joined by Derrik, Jason, Hunter. Boys, how we doing tonight?
Much better now that I know it's not just my forehead.
That is true. That is true. We tried to throw together some different kind of layouts to see how it would look if the worst case scenario was. And I think the best of the bunch was actually the one that was just fixated on your forehead. But you guys are just going to have to take my word for it. So a little bit of a special episode tonight. We're doing an expansion style draft. Jason and Derrik will be the drafters. As you guys can see, they're below me on the screen. It's a fun little exercise to kind of get through this slow patch of off season, and knowing our luck, there's going to be like a bevy of moves that happen during the stream, where we're going to have to do an emergency episode at some point. We'll cross that bridge when we inevitably get to it. But yeah, do you boys have anything you want to say before we go into the rules of it all, or just give the genesis of your idea? Like,
I think Jason and I, we can kind of get into a little bit very briefly, but we are very excited about this. This is something we were kind of just cooking up out of Jason. It was your drive home from school. And we're just spitballing ideas. We started talking about, fantasy drafts and whatever. And we ended up landing on why don't we do an expansion draft? And ended up coming together and worked out pretty well. But it's something I think I can speak for both of us on the fact that we are extremely excited. I think me personally, a little bit nervous, just because, expansion draft rules, we'll get into them. I don't think either of us really know what's going to happen, in all honesty.
No. And MLB is inevitably going to expand in the next, at least CBA, maybe there'll be one or two teams announced. So, it was worth looking back to when MLB did expand and, looking at the rules and kind of, modernizing those rules to, fit this culture, this, young talent, this wave of young talent, I guess. And, we'll get in the rules shortly, but this is something that I could not be more excited for.
Yes. One thing I will mention, myself, I am the GM of the Utah Talons. Jason?
I am the GM of the Nashville Bandits.
So we got our two creative teams. Obviously, you can see the logos behind us. We'll actually be live tweeting on Twitter graphics for every player we pick. So Jordan's actually handling that. So shout out to Jordan on that. On top of being our de facto commissioner. So Jordan's got a lot on his plate.
Don't ignore Hunter.
I'm just here to look pretty.
No, Hunter's our draft analyst here.
Hunter's here because we needed a forehead if the worst case scenario format played out.
If everything fell apart.
Mine's kind of rough as well, so we're not.
Mine's always covered by a hat. And that was not going to change if we needed a forehead. That was not going to change.
Hey, Miley show. We got Hunter. We got me with my. If we pull my hair up, it's kind of there. So.
Yeah, and then I got the beanie on indoors. No big deal. It's fine.
And then Jason's just short.
And then is that Drake May jersey at least?
It's a Mac Jones jersey with.
That is true. I can't see. I can see it. I can see.
Yep, there we go.
Okay. I taped. Well, it's a Drake May jersey, but it may or may not have Jones taped over it.
Brutal.
I'm not going to pay for another jersey.
That's fair. That's fair. But everybody that is a Devers jersey owner that doesn't have his last name on the back is thrilled that it's now a Marcelo Meyer jersey. So we're cooking. I can't wait to put my green original Devers jersey on Facebook Marketplace because I cannot fit into that thing again. Although if I keep eating pizza every single Sunday, I'll be back in that jersey in no time. Anyway, shall we get cooking with the rules of this draft? All right. So I'll kick you guys to there. We will get the screen squared away. I'm a mess trying to keep track of there we go. I guess we don't need it to stay on the clock at the moment, but we will for the sake of getting it all squared away. So let me share my screen here for the rules. So the rules of this expansion draft, there's 2 rounds. We've got 25 total draft picks for our 2 GMs, 15 in round 1, 10 in round 2. So obviously do the math, multiply that by 2. 30 existing MLB teams protect 12 players from their 40-man roster, and the remaining 28 are eligible to be selected. And only guys on their 40-man roster are eligible for selection. So there will not be any sort of Leo DeVry snatching here in this expansion draft. Teams may lose up to or only 1 player per round, and then following the draft to get that 26th roster spot. Each of our GMs will be signing a free agent. We will get into that at the end, but that is basically the bare bones lay of the land, so sort of agreement as to how the rules are going to go for this expansion draft. This should be fun. Yeah, I don't know. Do we need to do our coin flip now? Or are we ready to get into this?
I'm ready, Jason. You
All
feel
right.
ready?
I've been born ready.
All right, who's making the call here? I'll put the screen up as well for this.
I'll leave it up to Jason.
Me?
Yeah, make
Tails.
Tails. It is Tails. So Jason, do you want the number 1 overall pick?
I'll take the number 1 pick.
All right, so we will slide Jason on over there to the on the clock spot. And
so we should also mention too, because Jason has the first pick in the first round, I will have the first pick in the second round.
Snake draft is how we are rolling here. Let me get everything squared away. And with that, I guess our draft is underway. So
let's go.
Yeah, so what will end up happening here, just to kind of, again, lay into the rules a little bit, these guys will text me, or they'll put a banner on the screen that'll say the pick is in. We'll play a little sound effect. So when you hear this, that means the pick is in, essentially. And then that'll be my cue to look at my phone, get the pick, announce it, and then Hunter and I will break it down while the other person goes on to the clock. We will talk with the GM and decide and get their kind of insight as to why they went the direction they went for that pick. So without further ado, let's begin. Derrik, you're muted.
I'll also add, when we text the pick to Jordan, whether Jason or I, when we text it to Jordan, that is locking in our pick.
Yes,
so,
that is, they cannot make. And I guess to add one more rule, if a player signs while we're going here, they will just not be eligible to be the free agent that they pick at the end. Like we won't be reshuffling any protected players, which I guess now I should probably throw that onto the screen as well. Or maybe I'll wait till our first pick is announced to do that. So let me know when we've got a pick to discuss, and we shall begin. Hunter, did your Commanders end up winning, by the way?
Yes.
They did? Sweet.
Yeah, it was not a fun game to watch. It hasn't been a fun game to watch basically all year. But Josh Johnson, no offense to Josh Johnson, but having him at quarterback the last few games is just a really tough way to finish the season. You know, you'd think at this point I would learn to just not believe that the Commanders are going to be good for a while, but them getting to the NFC Championship game last year, just for Josh Johnson to be the quarterback at the end of this year was a whiplash.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, I guess we had to, as Patriots fans, we had to watch, Jacoby Brissett last year, so maybe We got our first pick to announce. Give me 1 sec to get that on to into our thread. This is going to be a little bit more time consuming than I thought as far as getting the graphic actually ready to pick. But with the first pick of the expansion draft, Jason, the Nashville Bandits select Wilyer Abreu of the Boston Red Sox. So Wilyer not eligible to be taken by Derrik, unfortunately jettisoned off of the protected list for the Red Sox, which will on cue get them added to the screen here. I'll put them in fully here. And yeah, so that's the American League for protected players. As you can see for the Red Sox, they're third there. It's a little bit congested a bit just to get American League and National League. I'll throw the National League up there at some point. But as you see, Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, Christian Campbell, Garrett Crochet, Bayo, Whitlock, Contreras, Tolley, Early, Narvaez, Duran, and Cedar Rafael are the protected players for the Red Sox. So let me get that off the screen real quick. Hunter, your initial reaction to the first pick of the draft being Wilyer Abreu?
Unsurprising, we are a Red Sox podcast.
Yeah.
But also just this is something that we'll see as the draft goes on. Certain teams just have much better top of the line talent. And the Red Sox are one of those teams where they have a lot of, at the very least, intriguing young guys. People like Peyton Tolley, Connolly Early, Christian Campbell, who you have to like in an actual expansion draft. Those guys are getting protected 100 times out of 100 times, and then when you get to the back there, that's when the tough decisions are going to be made. Of, this would be obviously not an ideal way, but a way for the Red Sox to lose an outfielder. Everybody keeps talking about the logjam. If there was an expansion draft, maybe that would just be their way of being like, all right, well, I guess we have to make a tough decision now. And Wilyer Abreu was on pace to be an all-star at one point last year. He's won 2 Gold Gloves already, 22 homers, 69 RBIs, a lot of really big moments. He looks phenomenal in right field. And if he didn't get that injury, there's a chance we're looking at a 30 home run season from him, and he's still 26 years old. So it makes sense. He's someone that you would be able to build your team. I don't want to say build your team around. It's not like he's going to be the superstar of superstars, but in an expansion draft, you're going to be hard pressed to get a guy this good, this young. Like it's such a fantastic combination in a expansion draft when pickings are really slim when it comes to like top tier talent.
For sure. And just as a reminder, that locks the Red Sox out for the rest of the first round. No, Derrik cannot select another member of the Boston Red Sox. So if you're waiting to see who the next Red Sox is going to be taken, you'll be waiting a little bit. Derrik did give me his pick. We'll get the sound effect in there, locking that pick in. And Derrik's pick, the Utah Talons select catcher Sean Murphy of the Atlanta Braves. So that is the first pick for Derrik, locking in a catcher. And now Jason is on the clock. Sean Murphy, it's tough in Atlanta, similar to the Red Sox situation with the outfield. The Braves have the reigning NL Rookie of the Year in Drake Baldwin, who, they don't have Marcell Ozuna clogging up the DH spot, but I would imagine they probably don't want Drake Baldwin DHing. Sean Murphy's too good of a defensive backstop to be the DH, not a good enough hitter to be a DH. But he, he's a contract, and that's somebody that is expendable in a draft like this. So, Derrik, I'll bring you in. I'm sorry, Jason, you didn't get to talk about your pick, but I'll bring Derrik in. What's your thought process going Sean Murphy with your first overall selection?
I think the big thing here I'm looking for at a premium position, getting an elite defender in Sean Murphy, a guy who in the past has been an all-star, has had a big bat in the past. Obviously, the last couple of years, the bat has not been the same. Sub 200 here the last couple of years. But worst thing comes to worst, I'm getting an elite defender, a guy who knows how to manage a pitching staff. And yes, there's a contract. It's not as pricey as people think it is, especially for a guy who I know can start every day. $15 million a year, I am more than happy to pay that to a guy who, in my opinion, elite defensive catcher, and that is super valuable for me, especially considering potential young pitchers, maybe, or even veterans that I'm looking to maybe take an extra step forward. Having that guy behind the plate that I trust in, when there aren't a lot of catchers I really trusted in this draft, was crucial for me.
Yeah, Hunter, what are your thoughts on Sean Murphy as an early draft pick here?
Yeah, it's you're getting the veteran guy, the good defensive catcher, and in an expansion draft, you're probably going to have a lot of young pitchers. So it's good to have someone like Sean Murphy behind the plate who's gonna help a lot of those guys grow and maybe become the pitchers that you hope that they can become.
Yeah, for sure. And Jason has hit me with his next pick. Let me get that queued up so we can get this show on the road here. So we got the pick is in here. Yes, Matt, we will get the big board on the screen momentarily. I'm still trying to figure out the most efficient way to do this. But all right, let me get here to the draft. So that locks in Jason's pick, which is Max Muncy of the Los Angeles Dodgers, corner infielder. Another dude who, I mean, like want to talk about which by the way, I should throw the NL protected players on the screen so you guys have a chance to look at them. Yeah, so the Dodgers are a team that's going to have a lot of good players exposed because they are the Los Angeles Dodgers, and that is unfortunately a byproduct of being an all-star team. Is you leave guys like Max Muncy exposed, although Muncy is a rental. He does play corner infield, so not the most valuable player on the field by any stretch of the imagination, but a ton of power. He's obviously won multiple rings, and he's dude who hits 30 home runs. So Jason prioritizing power, and that puts Derrik back on the clock. Let me swap him over there. And so Jason actually gets to talk about a draft pick. We'll kick it down to you, Jason. What's your thought process on drafting Max Muncy?
Yeah, a veteran who's won with the Dodgers multiple years, has a lot of good metrics still. Even though he is, up there in age, he's age 35, he's a vet. I think he's still one of the premier bats in our game. 2 seasons ago, he had 36 home runs. This past season had 19. Really bad defense at third, mid defense, which is kind of, I'm leaning towards putting him at first base. I think you have a good defensive metric there. Obviously, he's been blocked by guys like Freddie Freeman, so he can't play third, or he can't play first. He has to play a lot of third, but I think he's still valuable as a first baseman. And I know he's in a contract year, but he's still a very powerful bat. And in an expansion draft where the goal for this is to compete early on and to have success, he's a veteran who can complement some of these young guys that I'm willing to bring on, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah. What do you think, Hunter?
Yeah, like Jason said, 2 years ago, 36 home runs. He also had 105 RBIs. Hasn't played as many games the last 2 years, so the offensive numbers are down a bit. But he's also improving in other ways. So like 2022, 196 batting average, 2023, 212, 2024, 232, 2025, 243. So even if the average is, or if the power's dipping a little bit, the average, the on base percentage have skyrocketed. And like in 2022, it was a 324 on base, 329. This year, it was all the way up to 376. So he's giving you a lot offensively. And the last 2 years, he's kind of played a little bit more sparingly due to injury / just the Dodgers being the Dodgers and having the most absurd rosters of all time. So this is someone who I think would benefit nicely from an expansion draft where all of a sudden he would get to go to a team where he's playing every day. I could see him being a guy who again gets to 30 plus home runs. And if the average can stay in the 240 plus range, that's not someone you would be upset about having in the middle of your order.
No, we got a ton of power on in Jason's lineup. We're talking probably 60 home runs between his first 2 picks, both from the left side as well. But Derrik has locked in his next pick, and with that, it is Jake Myers of the Houston Astros going to Derrik with his second selection. He locked it in on our big board here. I should probably put his position up there. He is an outfielder, but primarily center field with the Astros. He kind of broke out a little bit this year, and it's weird because it feels like the Astros aren't super in love with him, which you'd think, a good defensive center fielder with some power from the right side of the dish would be a little bit more valued by a team like the Astros, who are notoriously cheap. They don't get enough flack for being a cheap organization. They have no problem letting guys go. So you'd think cheap production in Jake Myers, they'd be all for protecting him. Alas, they do not, but he is who ends up getting taken by Derrik here. Sorry, Derrik, I see your text. What do you mean? Did I put the wrong teams?
You put the wrong team for Muncy and Myers.
That is
in the thread.
Oops. Well, at least I put I'm learning here.
It's fine. It's early.
At least I didn't tweet that the Red Sox traded for Joe Ryan. So
hey, that is true. That is true. Hey, at least you got the right player, right? I mean, it could be worse.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, I did double check because he is protected by the A's. So when Max Muncy got taken by Jason, I was like, wait, okay, no. The other one was protected by the A's.
Yes.
So
also the other one you wouldn't be a first base / third baseman. Jason listed. Actually, I will just add. Funnily enough, I had Muncy listed as a primary third baseman / DH, and I would have DH'd him. I would have actually had him be my primary DH. But that's besides the point. I'll just on Jake Myers real quick. It's following a similar trend to Sean Murphy. Defense, anyone? Also, the bat did break out last year. 107 weighted runs created plus, hit 292 last year. Only 3 homers, not a ton of pops. Swiped 16 bags, though. I think is going to be someone who's going to be electrifying defensively for this team. And in terms of, going up the middle defensively, big help for me personally. Look, I was looking at my roster, and first 2 guys I had on my board were Murphy and Myers, and I got both of them. I would have loved Max Muncy, would have loved Wilyer Abreu, but for what I'm trying to do right now with those 2 guys up the middle, was exactly what I wanted.
For sure. Hunter, you have any last thoughts on the?
Yeah, just I do think it's funny that it seems like Jason's team is very power centric and Derrik's clearly focusing more defensively.
Bring the t-shirts.
The bat really took off this year. Obviously the power numbers dipped, but the average, the on base percentage, the slugging percentage even technically did go up, mainly because the batting average went up so much. He stole a lot of bases. He doesn't strike out. Seems like a good guy to put near the top of your lineup or right at the bottom. I think he could be like a one hitter who gets on base for everybody, or he could be like the 9 who, there's the Alex Cora loves to say, like Cedar Rafael is the second leadoff guy. So you could kind of put Myers there. But either way, you're getting good defense from him. You're getting good defense from Sean Murphy. So yeah, Derrik's clearly got a plan here.
All right. And so we've got Jason has made his pick. Let me switch the banner up for that. And with that, Jason has selected. Whoops. Oh my goodness. We are having a nightmare here. Braxton Ashcraft of the Pittsburgh Pirates has been selected by Jason, and I have finally put the right graphic on Twitter. I promise you that this is the correct team. I swear. So Ashcraft last year, kind of a swingman role, 26 appearances, 8 starts, 69 2/3 innings, a 2.71 ERA, lights up the radar gun, up to 97 on his average velocity. As yes, Derrik is now on the clock. Thank you for switching that, because I'm not going to be I'm not going to be able to stay on top of that. And let me also fix this as well. Braxton Ashcraft, pencil him in. I should spell things correctly. That'd be really neat. I'm feeling the heat here. I think it feels like all the eyes are on the shit I'm doing, and even though it's not the case, but I'm crumbling under pressure. Crumbling under pressure. But the Pirates have a shit ton of pitching. It's very difficult to protect 9 arms. You got to protect some bats, and the Pirates definitely are emphasis on some bats. They only have some, and they've acquired 2 of them, and that's actually composes 2 of their 12 protected players are their 2 out. Actually, 3 of their 12 protected players are guys that they just recently acquired, I believe, right? Brandon Lau is on there, Ryan O'Hearn is on there, and what did Jake Mangum make the protected list? I don't remember. Let me double check that. Let's throw them up.
He did not.
Screen. He did not. So Jake Mangum, I guess, can be selected if your flavor of player is slapdick who doesn't have any power whatsoever. Not me drafting. Not me drafting. That's all. That's all I will say. But yeah, let me get that back up on the screen here. And all right, Jason, what's your thoughts behind selecting Braxton Ashcraft?
I mean, my biggest rationale here is, we've been taking position players, and I think it's one thing in this draft because a lot of teams are going to protect their young guys. That's why we protect. So, a guy who is 20, I think 26, he's going to be, is this his 27th season? But anyways, very young. Pirates have young pitching, and, he put up some promising numbers. 8 games started, put up a 2.71 ERA among 69 and 2/3 innings. Really like the stuff too. He showcases a nasty slider and 4-seam, and then an occasional curve and changeup, which I like. It's something that expansion draft teams would be all over. Young, controllable guys who are going to flash quality stuff, and I couldn't pass up him.
First pitcher off the board as well, so that's just to give an idea of kind of the arms that we are dealing with here. We're not going to be seeing the Paul Skeneses of the world getting selected. We're not going to be seeing Hunter Green get selected. But Braxton Ashcraft, still a very talented pitcher at that. And I do have Derrik's next pick here. I'll throw the sound effect up there. I got the graphic ready to go. And it's the right team again. So 2 in a row, I promise. Derrik's next pick is center fielder Parker Meadows of the Detroit Tigers, who looked like he was going to be kind of their everyday guy for a while. And then, 2025 wasn't the best year for him. Dealt with some injuries, dealt with some inconsistency, dealt with the resurrection of Javier Baez, all-star starter. I remind people to this day, makes me very upset, but he did start the all-star game as the center fielder for the American League. And that locks down the Detroit Tigers for the first round. What's your initial reaction to Parker Meadows getting selected here, Hunter?
Clearly Derrik is not too worried about offense. I'm sure he's got a plan in the future. But he is really, really attacking other aspects of the game. Obviously, mainly fielding. I'm intrigued. I'm assuming Jake Myers is playing right, Derrik, and you have
Platoon.
Meadows in center.
Platoon.
Okay. Oh,
Center
okay. Yeah,
platoon.
that makes sense.
All right, Alex Cora.
Well, no, I'm not gonna lie.
First 3 picks are platooning outfielders.
To be fair, well, they're platooning, but they don't have to. But as of right now, the game plan is at worst platoon both of them. These are the 2 guys I set my eyes on in terms of I knew I wanted elite defenses in the field. And these 2 guys, I was flipping a little bit back and forth, and I'm like, why don't I just get both of them? One hits righty, one hits lefty. Why not? You might think it's a little bit early for Parker Meadows, but I wanted to lock in the fact that I had Myers, I had Meadows, and I don't need a legitimate center fielder anymore, realistically. Could I take another one? Absolutely. But in terms of elite defensive center fielders, I am more than set. I mean, good luck trying to get a ball in the gap is all I'm going to say.
It's a good point.
And there's a little bit of power potential there as well. I will just mention that.
Good luck with run production at the bottom third of the order, though. Is my
if
my
they're
initial
platooning,
reaction.
the only one of those.
Yes, you got a good point. That's a good point. I guess it's one of those wait and see picks. Not to steal a meme from Red Sox Twitter. Like you got you got your outfield platoon here. In a perfect world, we'll see. I mean, again, Jason, I knew that whoever was getting the first overall pick was taking Willier. I mean, that was kind of the worst kept secret of this draft.
And I mean, I told Jordan like a week ago I was taking Sean Murphy if I had the first pick.
Yeah. What when you guys, just for the future, when you text me the player, can you also text me the position they're under, just because you've got the folders for the players? I know that this one in particular, sorry not to air you out while we're in the middle of recording, but because I just want to make sure that I get the right go to the right position here when I am pulling graphics for the Twitter account. So Jason's next pick is ready to rock. Let me get that queued up on Twitter. Pick is in, and sound effect. And that Jason's next pick is Cody Clemens, second baseman of the Minnesota Twins. Cody, not Roger Clemens, but he did homer at Fenway with his dad in attendance. So that was a cool moment. Not for me as somebody that was there watching. Probably not for Hunter Dobbins either. He was the one pitching. but yeah, Cody Clemens is the next pick of this draft. So now Derrik goes back on the clock. And Jason, what's your thought process behind Cody Clemens here?
Yeah, I think someone who, he's going to play solid defense at second base. He was in the 86th percentile and outs above average. Someone who's going to pull the ball a lot. And, ideally, it's not like I don't know. Me and Derrik talked about ballpark dimensions, but like ideally, if it's Yankee Stadium, he's going to rake. But like Cody Clemens will get some more opportunities. And he's 29 years old and, someone who I like too. A lot of the under the hood metrics like him. There's a lot of red on his Savant page. So I'm very excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, Hunter, what are your thoughts on the Cody Clemens pick?
Maybe not 30 homers, but he's absolutely 20 plus. So the power trend continues. I do wonder if there's just a little bit of Jason wants Roger Clemens in the booth at some games going on here, and he's just like, this adds to the experience for fans of coming to the games, and it's like, oh, Roger Clemens might be at this game. But no, Cody Clemens, honestly, surprisingly good season last year after getting cut from the Phillies. I think he got cut, right? It wasn't a trade. I think it was just he just got DFA'd because I'm pretty sure the Twins just picked him up. But yeah, he started the year with the Phillies, did absolutely nothing for a couple weeks, and then ended up being a major part of the Twins for basically the rest of the year. So you're getting, like Jason said, good defense at second, a decent amount of pop in the bat, and someone who's still in his prime. He's not, you're not taking a 34-year-old here, which is good, because with Max Muncy near the end of his career, he's bringing in a power bat who maybe still hasn't hit the peak of what he can do.
Yeah, and we're talking similar problems here with. We got the Alex Cora platoon on Derrik's side, and then we've got the full-on lefty onslaught of power bats on Jason's side. They did not tell me, but I am under the impression now that they're free agent. They're foregoing signing a player, and they're both going to try and lure Alex Cora from the Red Sox to manage their team. With the platoon.
If I want a manager, I'm taking Chad Tracy.
All right.
Shout out.
All right.
Shout out Chad Tracy.
Giving him his MLB opportunity.
The fact that he's not a big league manager is kind of shocking. I will just say that.
We did talk about it with Mike Antonellis, that if Alex Cora does end up in the front office, that Chad Tracy makes the logical sense as the next manager of the Red Sox. But that is at least one more year. Well, 2027. So 2 more seasons of 2 more seasons of Alex Cora as the manager. And with that, we've got our first reliever off the board, as Derrik has selected Camilo Doval from the New York Yankees. he was really bad for the Yankees last year, but he is a stuffed darling. Dude is an absolute freak when it comes to just the movement on his pitches. Like, to be honest, he's nasty. He's deceptive delivery. I'm not going to say the F word, but he is a lot of that as well. But command does leave him from time to time. But ultimately, again, when we're talking relievers among the upper echelon, if we're just talking sheer stuff, as now we kick Jason back to the driver's seat for his next pick. But Hunter, what are your thoughts on Camilo Doval?
This is going to age me a little bit because I'm the oldest one here. But if anyone remembers when I was in college still and the Eagles had their whole, like, they brought in Vince Young, and even though he was the backup quarterback, he was talking about how they were a super team, and then the Eagles were like very mediocre that year. And that's kind of, I feel like the curse that happened to the Yankees. Everybody talked about this like super bullpen after the trade deadline, and then they all just kind of sucked. But outside of that, 2.5 month stretch with the Yankees, Duvall was fantastic with the Giants last year. Struggled a little bit the year before that, but outside of that 2 month stretch and then 2024, he's been phenomenal throughout his entire career. He, like you said, just disgusting stuff. He can absolutely be your team's closer. He had 39 saves back in 2023. So Derrik is bringing in a guy who knows who else he's drafting the rest of the way, but very strong chance that Duvall is his team's closer.
Yeah, I'm very shocked to see that the Rockies are still without a player being poached. But like that's another element of this draft. The Rockies are so devoid of talent that wouldn't you want to be aggressive and take the hypothetically best Rocky available?
The thing is though, it's not like if you take a Rocky in the first round, the other person has to take one in the second round because there are only 20 picks in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
So in some ways, yes. In some ways, no. I think it just depends on how much you like the player.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, again,
I was banking on taking Seth Halverson from the Rockies, and I realized like 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes before we went live, oh crap, he's protected, and I had to change my Rocky strategy.
That's a very, again, we're talking about a guy who had an ERA over 5 last year, but he throws 100. And he's got like 5 years of team control.
That's not similar to Duvall, right? Those 100.
Yeah, and Duvall obviously also has the track record. Yeah, has the.
He's
track
also
record.
Shockingly only 28. Like I will just mention that because like when I realized he was only 28, I was like, what? I felt like he was like definitely 30. So
he's still got 2 years of team control. So you got 3 years of team control. He's one of those super 2 arbitration guys where he gets 4 years of arb. It looks like, and he's optionable. Not that necessarily matters, but on the topic of the Yankees super pen, among the contingent of relievers they brought in was Jake Bird last year, and he did get optioned within like a week. So just to add a little bit of hilarity to the super pen thing. But yes, Jason has locked in his next pick. Play the sound effect, and it is Michael Wacha. So going complete opposite end of the spectrum from Braxton Ashcraft to Michael Wacha, going from the swingman young right-hander to the veteran, the crafty right-hander. We'll kick Derrik back into the on the clock seat. Hunter, what are your thoughts on Michael Wacha?
Boston Red Sox legend Michael Wacha. Correct yourself. But
that is true.
Just he's been a very solid pitcher for the last 4 seasons. Literally since he went to the Red Sox in 2023. He had some good years before that too, but just he's not going to give you anything super flashy. Kind of like you said, like it's 2 ends of the spectrum there. You're not going to get this overpowering guy who's going to throw 7 shutout innings with 14 strikeouts, but he's going to limit runs. He can eat some innings. He'll limit the walks. So you're getting consistency and a good veteran arm for your rotation, which is very important, especially in something like an expansion draft where, again, you're probably going to be getting a lot of younger guys. It's good to have some of the older guys who you know what you're going to get, because a lot of these younger guys in these drafts are going to be more volatile when it comes to outcome. It could be a fantastic season. It could be a 5 ERA and man, this looks lost. So having a guy who every 5 days, you know, is going to go out there and give you 5+ decent innings is extremely underrated when building a team.
Yeah, for me, Michael Wacha, it's like for me when he left the Red Sox, it was like, okay, yeah, he was one of those perfect, like 1 year, like thank you for your service, good luck. We're expecting the regression to hit. It never hit for him. Like he's still a good pitcher. It's not like you said, they're not the most dominant looking every time out, but he knows how to get guys out, and that's not something that that's something that's learned experience. You don't just show up to the big leagues knowing how to get guys out. You show up to the big leagues typically because you have the stuff to just kind of let it rip and get guys out because you're so nasty. And Wacha was like that when he came up with the Cardinals, but then he had the injuries, his stuff diminished a bit. Then he had to kind of tap into the mental aspect of getting hitters out, and he has really turned into a very good middle of the rotation starter on a pretty good Royals pitching staff. I mean, they're not necessarily the best team in the world, but they churn out pretty good arms every year. So, Jason, what are your thoughts on Michael Wacha and your selection there?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Veteran guy. He averages like 30 starts in the past 2 years. You know, not gonna wow you, but like he's a veteran where he'll get a lot of his values through innings and quality innings too. Like he's had a sub-3 ERA for the past 3 seasons. You know, some of the best off-speed stuff in the game. Very excited. Above 165 innings pitched the past 2 years. Whip about 1.2. Not, like I said, not going to wow you, but absolutely someone that I love for an expansion draft.
Yeah, he's definitely a talented arm. He's up there. I mean, you're the one that's taken the 2 starters so far, so your pitching staff starting to round into form. Derrick's still rocking with just Camilo Doval. Maybe he's going 100% bullpen games. That would be fun. And then his manager is actually Kevin Cash, where he's just rocking. Or no, he'd get Joe Madden to manage this team. He would love to manage a team of all relievers, if we're being honest. That would be interesting. But yeah. Man, remember that Michael Wacha start against the Angels where he threw like 91 pitches but struck out 10? That was peak 2022 Red Sox.
I don't remember that. I'm focused on my hatred for Joe Madden. I couldn't stand him as manager.
Not a Joe Madden guy.
I thought he was he almost blew the World Series for the Cubs. They won that World Series in spite of him.
Why you say that?
Just his mismanagement of so many things. I forget what he did with the bullpen at the end. Oh, what did he do? I don't remember, but I had my best friend growing up is a Cubs fan, and I remember like fervently texting him like, dude, why is Joe Madden trying to ruin this for you guys? What did he do in the Game 7? I have to like Google Game 7 Cubs.
I don't know, but he's one of those guys.
I think that's what he did. Didn't he have he tried to make Chapman pitch 2 innings. He put Chapman out there when he didn't need to.
And then Rajay Davis,
it was one of those like cocky, like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, he went. I don't remember who started that game for the Cubs, but then Lester came in relief. I remember that.
It was Kyle Hendricks for 4 2/3, John Lester for 3, Aroldis Chapman for 1 1/3. He gave up 2 runs on 3 hits. CJ Edwards for 2/3 of an inning. He gave up a run, and then Mike Montgomery got the save in 1/3 of an inning.
Mike Montgomery getting the save with Michael Martinez being the last out of a World Series game. What a absolute travesty that ended up being. But okay, so
Derrik Crisp was on that team. I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember. Didn't Coco Crisp hit a home run against the Red Sox in that in that LDS. I'm pretty sure he homered. I want to see off Pomeranz.
That's awesome. He
I
went
think
2
he
for 4
homered
in this game.
at Fenway. That's really upsetting, but okay. So Derrik did make his
1 for 2 with a homer on 10-10 against the Red Sox.
That's so annoying. So annoying. I hate that I remember that. But so Derrick's next pick is Garrett Clevenger of the Tampa Bay Rays. So I did not know that was going to be his next pick. So right now we're still on bullpen game watch for Derrick's team because he's drafted 2 pitchers and both of them are relievers. Now, Derrik, just out of curiosity, you are aware that you just drafted a lefty reliever that gave up a home run to Jarren Duran in the big 2025, right?
That is true. However, I have faith in Clevenger. I felt like getting a guy who, in my opinion, is one of the better lefty relievers on the board. And in a team in Tampa where there wasn't a ton I was comfortable with taking, especially considering they traded away a couple players who I might have been interested in. I felt like Clevenger. It's funny enough, I actually forgot to make a graphic for him. That's why my pick took so long. But he was actually number 1 on my board for Tampa, but I forgot to put him on my relief pitcher list. So I was going through the team. So I'm like, oh, Clevenger's there. Also, too, you kind of look, he's got a lot of red on his baseball savant page. That's a fun one. He is 31, right? He's not the youngest. He's not a spring chicken, but he's also a reliever. A little bit of a, 3/4 slot arm angle, really good slider. I think he's someone who, is going to be really, really tough for. He's actually really tough against righties with his slider, but even he's still tough against lefties as well. He throws a sweeper more against lefties, but he's tough, honestly, against both sides.
He is very talented. I am curious if this guy that came to my mind is somebody that might be drafted later. I won't say it out loud, obviously, because that'd be silly. But I have a general idea of who you may have been uttering about momentarily. There, Derrik. What are your thoughts on Garrett Clevenger being selected here, Hunter?
Obviously, very good left-handed reliever. Phenomenal 2025 season. I'm curious how he'll do outside of the Tampa. I don't even want to call it a pitching lab. The Tampa black magic of pitching, because
he was also at a minor league ballpark last year. He's also in a minor league ballpark last year that was very hitter friendly.
That's very fair.
Yeah, ask Jarren Duran.
As much as I love Junior Caminero, ask all the home runs he hit.
That's
true. We can talk about Derrik not having starters yet. We could talk about the offense not having a ton of pop, but it's going to be very hard for people to get on base against him with the defense that he has, and now with 2 very elite back end relievers. So at this point, if Derrik gets to a game in the 8th inning with the lead, it's hard to see him blowing that lead. So he's got a good foot up at that point.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like Jason has made his next pick. Let me get that queued up real quick. Pick is in. Play the damn sound. And Derrick's next pick is left-handed pitcher Jacob Lopez of the Sacramento Athletics.
Jason's next pick.
Who did I say?
My name. You said my
bad.
name.
My bad. I accidentally clicked on the tab and was dragging it all over my screen, and it was messing with my head. Jason's pick is Jacob Lopez of the Athletics. Let me pull up his page real quick. The left-hander last year had a 4.08 ERA, made 17 starts for the A's, and the 4.08 ERA is pretty damn good when we're talking in the context of minor league ballparks. It was not easy to pitch for the Athletics last year, and Jacob Lopez did so better than, their free agent acquisition of Luis Severino, better than their trade acquisition of Jeffrey Springs, but alas, now he belongs to the Nashville Bandits as part of our expansion draft. Let me swap them on the screen here. Jason, your thoughts on Jacob Lopez?
Yeah, theme of young pitching. I like him a lot. I like the metrics he's got. Surprisingly reverse splits when it comes to ballpark, but my ballpark is very friendly. I think the rules, I guess, on the GM. So, but there are a lot of good metrics that he'll flash good slider. He'll also flash solid breaking stuff too. I think definitely his bread and butter is his fastball and slider, and I'm very excited for him. Hitters only hit $169 off his fastball this year, albeit also expected slugging of 348. So pretty good fastball stuff, and he's only 27. So the sky's the limit with him. I'm excited.
What are your thoughts, Hunter?
He's now has two really intriguing pitchers on the younger side. It's not like I'm not saying they're 23, but I think they're 26 and 27. So a lot of again, this goes back to the Michael Wacha pick I did that ends up looking like an even better pick now because he's got another guy who you don't exactly know what you're going to get with him, but there's very good upside. Last year, by far the most innings he had thrown in the season. He threw 12 and a third in 2023, 10 and a third in 2024, and then 92 and 2/3 last year. So you're still very early in his major league career. There's still like a couple varying outcomes that could happen with Jacob Lopez, but there's a very glaring upside. So you're getting a lot of I don't know how to word it, but like you're getting a lot of different outcomes between him and Ashcraft, and you're getting Michael Wacha in the middle of them, kind of just to even things out a little bit. So definitely could go either way, but it's really hard to not like what Jacob Lopez showed you last year. And like you said, pitching in a minor league ballpark hurts the numbers a little bit. So that goes towards his favor as well. Well, barring wherever Jason's playing, who knows?
Yeah, wherever in Nashville Jason is sticking his roster. College of the Canyons is where Jacob Lopez went. That I just learned that is a college, so that's why I felt the need to share that. There are apparently 6 major leaguers that went to that school. The only other one from this century is Dana Eveland, who, if I'm not mistaken, was a Red Sox at one point. I am mistaken. He was not a Red Sox at any point. But yeah. Also an Athletic though at one point. So I guess that's one thing that he shares in common with Jacob Lopez, both former Athletics that went to the College of the Canyons. Anyway. Okay. The sound wasn't playing for me. I thought my Wi-Fi had a meltdown. It might have had a meltdown anyway.
It did play.
It did play. All right, we're good. All right. So Derrick's next pick is Ryan Helsley of the Baltimore Orioles. Derrik has decided that Ryan Helsley is not allowed to play for the Orioles, despite signing a 2-year deal with him this offseason.
Eat crap. Oh, well.
Hey.
Eat crap, Baltimore.
With the offseason the Orioles have had spending money, I don't know if they necessarily are entirely against now shedding the Helsley contract to go and get potentially another arm in free agency or another bat or whatever it may be. But yeah, Ryan
At this
Helsley.
rate, they're going to get rid of Helsley, sign Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, they're like, you know what? Why not? Let's get Helsley.
Hell, they might even get Bregman while they're at it.
Are you of the mindset, because I know that this was reported when he was a free agent, Ryan Helsley getting stretched out as a starter? You don't have any starters yet.
Absolutely
you do not have any starters yet.
Absolutely not. Not starting.
Just saying.
Jason did when we were discussing it, because we were discussing like how would we manage like if we want to shift someone from like reliever to starter. And I said like use common sense, but it's also up to you at the end of the day. Because Jason specifically brought up Helsley, but in the back of my head, I was always planning on keeping him in the bullpen.
Fair enough. What are your?
The bullpen. My bullpen right now, Duvall, Clevinger, and Helsley. I like that trio a lot.
I'm very excited to see who your first actual like starter is going to be. Like,
I already know
like
who
it's
it is too.
like it's already becoming a bit. Well, now I hope that Jason takes him so that way we can prolong the stretch of picks where you don't get a starter.
Maybe, but I don't know if Jason can take him.
He could. You never know. You never know. You never know. What are your thoughts on the Helsley pick, Hunter?
Yeah, this does feel like a bit at this point, but I mean, the bullpen's phenomenal. Like I mentioned last pick, how if you get to the 8th inning, now it's if you get to the 7th inning, good luck beating Derrick's team if they have even a 1-0 lead, because he's now got Helsley. He's got the ridiculous trio in the back of his bullpen, and with the defense, you're not going to expect too many blunders. But yeah, there are some big things he's going to have to figure out in the next couple picks here, because he's now got 3 relievers, a platoon in the outfield, and a catcher. So he's gonna need to figure out some starters at some point. But the bullpen's disgusting.
Yeah, getting to the 7th inning with a lead is dangerous against Derrick's team, or trailing getting into the 7th inning against Derrick's team is dangerous. But right now, you don't have a starter to face, and you don't have a whole lot of offense to face. I'm very very curious to see how this whole thing actually turns out in the end. But with that, we go on to Jason's next pick, which is his first reliever, Phil Maton of the Chicago Cubs. Maton just got signed by the Cubs, effectively replacing Red Sox legend Brad Keller in the on the depth chart. But he last year 2.79 ERA across 2 teams. He was with the Cardinals to open the year, had a 2.35 ERA with them in 40 appearances, then went to Texas. Was a little bit worse for them, but still a 3.52 ERA, 12.9 Ks per 9. It's crazy because this dude always has good numbers, but I swear every time I watch him pitch, he's giving up the most earth-shattering, back-breaking monster home run that I've ever seen. So, Jason, if you get a lead late and Phil Maton comes in, tell me to shield my eyes so you can protect you can preserve your lead.
I'll also tell you good luck, because he has the best curveball in the game, probably one of the best. Hitters are hitting $136 against his curveball, unhittable. Not my closer, but I think I'm very excited to see what he can do on my team. He really figured things out in Chicago, like every pitcher did, which was insane. If you like Brad Keller, Drew Pomeranz, there are a bunch of guys who this past year for Chicago, Brooks Kriske even made it in Chicago. He succeeded, but I'm excited, and to quote someone I know, he's Meatball Maton. No, not on my team. He doesn't get that nickname because he'll be striking guys out.
Unless Jordan Leandry is watching him pitch, in which case he is very much Meatball Maton. Oh my goodness, the pick isn't already. Give me a sec. Hunter, give me your thoughts on Maton while I get everything queued up.
My first thought after looking at his stats, I did not realize he's been on this many teams. He's been passed around quite a bit in the league, but he's been fantastic basically everywhere he's gone. Last year was ridiculously good for him. And yeah, that's a good guy to get for Jason to counter what Derrick's been doing in his bullpen. Yeah, he's now got his first legitimate arm out of that bullpen.
For sure. And then, okay, so I've got Derrick's next pick queued up. And with that, it is shortstop Joey Ortiz of the Milwaukee Brewers. He gets traded for Corbin Burns, has a couple of years with the Brewers, and then he gets taken in the expansion draft. Sorry, my guy, you are getting thrown all over the place. But yeah, he ends up being Derrick's shortstop. And I'm gonna kick it right to you, Derrik, because I genuinely I'm just curious to see how the brain is working here. Because Joey Ortiz is another dude who's, he's not a bad hitter, but he's not a great hitter. He's definitely a defense first guy. And like you're clearly prioritizing defense, but I'm just curious where are the bats, my guy? Where are they?
They will be coming. I'll just speak from this example here. Yeah, and has anyone seen David Hamilton play shortstop? Has anyone seen how that's turned out? Right? Has anyone seen what the Red Sox fundamentals have looked like? You know what my team's not going to struggle with? Fundamentals. My team will not lose games because of fundamental mistakes. Because of that, my team is going to be fundamentally sound. Defense, speed. Gonna add some bats as well. Can't not have bats. But once again, similar to the Sean Murphy pick, similar to Myers and Meadows, up the middle defense, I am very much prioritizing that. At the catcher spot, I was prioritizing at center field, and I'm now prioritizing that at shortstop, getting who, in my opinion, is the best shortstop on the board, because there aren't many shortstops on the board. Let's be completely honest. There really aren't any shortstops on the board.
Yeah, looking at your graphics for the position, you are very much correct. There's not a whole lot to choose from. What are your thoughts on Joey Ortiz, Hunter?
Yeah, it's more of the same from Derrik. We're getting more fantastic defense and more questions on offense. Sub 600 OPS last year, but there's been flashes from Ortiz. He had a 726 OPS in 2024. So like there is a place for him to go offensively. Like it's not like we've only seen really bad offense from him. We're a year removed from a solid offensive season, and meanwhile he is getting phenomenal defense at shortstop. And we keep kind of parroting the same thing every pick, but it continues this trend for Derrik where you are not going to have to worry about the fundamentals. You're going to get elite defense from his team. So still wondering where the offense is coming from. I know he said it's coming in a bit, but in the meantime, he does not have to worry about his defense giving away games, which is, as Red Sox fans, something we have seen way too often over the last 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah, that is definitely true. It is definitely true that the Red Sox have given away a lot of games with their defense.
Good to see Derrik's fan trauma getting put into his team building.
I'm not gonna lie, this wasn't even trauma. It was just the top example that popped into my head about defense costing teams games.
And Joey Ortiz had 12 outs above average at short last year. I mean, he was a better third baseman in 2024, had 8 defensive runs saved and 11 outs above average there versus -2 defensive runs saved and 12 outs above average at short in 2025. So depending on the metric you like, I guess you could say he's a better shortstop, but I mean, he's got some positional versatility. He's got some power. I mean, it diminished a little bit in 2025, but he had 11 home runs in 2024, had a 105 WRC plus, 3 wins above replacement. And you at least know the glove is going to play. Now, what about the fundamental act of scoring runs, my friend? We will.
Hey, we'll find that out soon.
We will. So Jason has made his next pick, and with that, it is Emilio Pagan of the Cincinnati Reds. He is also a graduate of the school of Jordan Leandry watches him give up home runs. So that is the College of the Canyons of this draft, is the Jordan Leandry school of watching home runs. But Emilio Pagan had a phenomenal year last year in Cincinnati. Became their closer. I think he hit 30 saves in 2025. And then they broke.
I think we lost him.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if I got kicked or
It was me. Yeah. It's when in doubt, it's Jordan. It's always me. But Hunter, what are your thoughts on Emilio Pagan?
Yeah, quick turnaround here from Jason. Quickly, we had talked about Derrik building up his bullpen, and clearly that was pissing off Jason because he has now made 2 straight bullpen moves. And he now has his potential closer again, like Derrik with Camille Duvall. Who knows? Maybe he has plans in the future. Maybe he doesn't have plans, but he just doesn't even want him as a closer. But he now has a legitimate closer option in Pagan. And 32 saves last year. He had 20 back in 2019. So he's been doing this for a while. Didn't really get many saves in between those years, but I won't bring that up because it doesn't fit my narrative.
He wasn't a closer really until this past season.
Yeah. But you're getting a guy who has a track record of being a pretty decent reliever, and over the last, the last season specifically, what has been arguably his best season, maybe his second best season in the majors. So that's you're getting a guy who is 34, and he'll be 35 early in the season. But we've seen relievers manage to stay productive later into their careers. And even if he's only giving you 2-3 seasons, he's someone that can kind of help right the ship at the back end of the bullpen while you build up the farm system. You do whatever you have to do to figure things out, and he can pass the torch off to a young guy in a couple seasons.
Jason, what were your thoughts in going with Emilio Pagan here?
Maybe if I knew he was in the Jordan Leandry school of giving up home runs. I mean, who said? I mean, I could ban you from going, and he'll be the best pitcher in the league. But
you could regionally black me out, so I can't watch the games.
No, I'll regionally and outside of region black you out too. I'll completely black you out. But in all seriousness though, Pagan best fastball splitter comp, one of the best, maybe second to Johan Duran in the league, but lethal splitter and fastball. And you combo that with a cutter too. Very, very unhittable. He had 30 saves this year, emerged as the Reds closer, helped them with their postseason push this past season or last season now. I guess we're in the tremendous 2-6 now after the big 2-5. So I'm very excited to see what he can do. The bullpen is coming together. I know I only made 2 picks, but I have a good vision, and I'm excited. I'm excited, man. This is fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and with that's the halfway point of the first round. So just to give a little bit of a recap, I'm not going to go pick by pick here, but just to kind of give a general idea, if you just joined in, first overall pick, or the first pick for both of our GMs, Jason took Wilyer Abreu first overall, and then Derrik took Sean Murphy second overall. That was how we jump-started our draft. We have not, as far as an offense standpoint, I guess I'm being too hard on Derrik because Sean Murphy can hit. So I am being a little bit of an ass, but it's that's where we're at this point. We got the platoon outfield situation with no starters on Derrik's side, and then Jason, who heavily prioritized offense early, power from the left side early, and has now kind of rounded out his pitching staff. He's already drafted 5 pitchers in his first 8 picks, so he's very much a Craig Breslow style GM here. But I think Derrick's on the clock now, so we will move forward here. It's okay. We've got Derrick's got his pick in here. Give me a sec to get that all queued up. I am a mess again. My Wi-Fi shitting itself for 30 seconds has really thrown me. So now I have to bring myself back. But okay. So let's play the sound. And Derrick's next pick, the reliever, it is Jojo Romero of the St. Louis Cardinals. You guys really thought that he was going to draft a starter. Come on now. Jojo Romero, rental reliever, possible. I mean, a guy that the Red Sox could trade for, given how their offseason's gone of just trading for Cardinals. Jojo Romero, not somebody that Craig Breslow can trade for now. He is a member of the Utah Talons. What are your thoughts on the Romero pick, Hunter?
I mean, the bullpen's disgusting. I do think that Derrick's going to need to move on to starters very soon. But he's getting a guy who has, 3 straight really positive seasons with the Cardinals, with 2025 being far and away the best of his career. And you're getting another lefty who just makes life difficult for a lot of hitters. So he's got, I think he now has 2 lefties and 2 righties, right? Now I'm struggling to think of his team. Yeah. He's got 2 lefties and 2 righties. So he's got, 2 fairly dominant pitchers from each side now. So that gives him the ability to play matchups and really go specifically against certain teams, certain parts of their order. So just another guy to throw into the back of that bullpen and ensure late game leads aren't going to get blown.
Yeah, for sure. Derrik, what's your logic with JoJo Romero here?
It's a little bit similar to the Garrett Clevenger pick. However, it's my second lefty reliever, and I think this is another really good lefty. He had a really good year last year, Romero did, and I think that now that I have 2 lefties in my bullpen, both of whom, I can use against lefties, so I'm not forced to use if I'm in a lefty situation. I'm not forced to have to use a Doval or Helsley. I can go to JoJo Romero. So right now my bullpen, 4 pitchers total, 2 righties, 2 lefties. I like it. And Romero was good last year. And looking at the Cardinals, I will just say the only other guy on my list was Dustin May, and I don't want to touch him with the 10-foot pole.
Hey, you're the one that put him on your list.
That's because there's nothing else that I wanted. And
that's
just
because
Breslow
traded for them all?
It's just because he's a starting pitcher. Yeah, and Breslow traded for every good player they have, so the not so good players got protected.
Yeah, that's true. And the only other guy that might get traded that is probably protected is Brendan Donovan for now until he ends up eventually becoming the Red Sox second baseman. Jason, are you locking in that pick that you texted me? Okay, just making sure. All right, and with that, Jason's pick is Joe Mack, the catcher for the Miami Marlins. I believe it's the first guy that's been taken that has not debuted yet. So we're drafting from the 40-man roster here, but a guy who has not actually played a Major League Baseball game. To give a little bit of a rundown on Mack, last year across 2 minor league levels, he slashed .257, .338, .475 with 21 home runs. Drove in 58, had a 120 WRC plus in AAA. Average was 250, hit 18 home runs, drove in 53 in 99 games. So since this is the first non-MLB player that's been selected, I'll throw it to you, Jason. Where are you thinking? Where are you going with the Joe Mack pick here?
Yeah, it's very hard to get a good catcher and one that could hit, one that could play some defense too, but I'm very excited for him. He had a really good year in the high minors. He's getting ready to debut. I envision him to be on the opening day roster because I'm the GM. I can decide things like that. So I think Hunter will have a lot to say about him too. But Joe Mack, definitely top 50 prospect in baseball as a catcher too. There's a lot of value to that too. And it's another lefty, but I'm very excited for him, and he was pretty high on my draft board, and he's very young too. So in an expansion draft, yes, like I said, you need veteran guys. You also need to look a little bit young too. So I like this pick a lot.
Hunter, what are your thoughts on Joe Mack?
Yeah, with catching prospects, they tend to get their offense graded at a different curve, and just because catching is such an important position where it's like decent hitting is considered really good hitting for catchers. Joe Mack's just a really good hitter for anyone. A ton of power, 24 homers in 2024, 21 in 2025. Dominated AA for a short stretch of time this year, and then moved up to AAA where he more than held his own. 18 homers in 99 games. He stole 8 bases. Really fun. That's to me, that's just a really fun pick. He's 23 years old. Obviously, like Jason said, as the GM, he gets to make the decisions, but this is someone who could realistically make an opening day roster. The Marlins aren't really in need of a catcher right now, so maybe he's not going to make their opening day roster. But you put him on a lot of teams, and he would go into spring training with at least a better than 35-40% chance to make the roster. So you're getting someone who, in theory, could be your organization's starting catcher for the next 12 plus seasons. That's a really good value right there.
90th percentile for pull air rate. So if you're surprised the Yankees aren't trying to snatch him in that Edward Cabrera deal that they're currently apparently negotiating.
Another lefty power bat, by the way.
Another lefty power bat. We're staying with the same themes here. That is very much. It's been a draft of trends thus far, and looks like Derrick's next pick is in. Just give me 1 sec to queue it up. Ooh, this is a fun one. I actually won't give you any sort of flack on this one, Derrik. I enjoy where your brain's going here with this one. All right, give me a sec to pull the stream back up, and we've got Ronnie Mauricio, third baseman of the New York Mets, now going to Derrick's team. Mauricio really hasn't gotten an opportunity with the Mets. I mean, he's gotten some looks, but he hasn't gotten like a real true opportunity to be a big leaguer. 61 games last year, had an 88 WRC plus and just 6 home runs. But he's been kind of a part-time player as a big leaguer. Derrik texted me not switch hitting, so I'll throw it to you. Is he a full-time lefty? Where are we going here?
Going to be full-time lefty. Mauricio, 146 plate appearances last year as a left-handed hitter. Still struck out a lot, 27% strikeout rate, but 265, 336, 447 for 121 weighted runs created plus. 6 home runs were hit left-handed versus as a right-handed hitter last year. 083, 132, 083, negative 38 weighted runs created plus, no home runs. Only one of his career home runs have came as a right-handed hitter, whereas he's got 7 in the big leagues as a left-handed hitter. So the numbers point to him being a better left-handed hitter, and I'm going to see a little bit Cedric Mullins-esque in terms of stopping the switch hitting, having him only hit left-handed. And he was shockingly good defensively at third base last year, which is something I was very shocked to see when I looked at his numbers. It's not a lock he's going to play third base, but he's a viable option as of right now.
And he's kind of a model darling. He's got a blood red prospect savant page. So he it's for some, it's kind of more of a matter of when, pop. Not if for him.
There's some pop there.
He doesn't pull the ball in the air a ton. He was only 54th percentile among AAA bats in pull air rate, but 95th percentile for 90th percentile exit velocity, barrel rate 91st percentile, strikeout rate 89th percentile, 99th percentile expected weighted on base average. Now, granted, he only got, looks like, about 40 plate appearances in 2025 in AAA because he was with the big league team for a lot of the season. But just kind of goes to show the tools for Ronnie Mauricio. What are your thoughts on the Mauricio pick, Hunter?
Bias. This is one of my favorite picks of the draft. I've been in love with Ronnie Mauricio for years. So I'm a huge fan of this pick. I think that there's a ridiculous amount of upside with him, and he could very easily become a genuine top of the order type bat for Derrick's team in 2 seasons. So very much a hit or miss pick. Like we've seen Mauricio struggle a little bit at the major league level over the last 2-3 seasons. So this could be someone who that's just who he is, but he's also still very young. So it also wouldn't shock me if he becomes the hitter that everyone was expecting when he was one of the top prospects in baseball. So this is a guy who in 2 years, Derrick's team could be trying to cut ties with, or they could be already trying to figure out a way to lock him down for, on a Roman Anthony type contract and keep him in the middle of their order for the next 15 years.
Yeah, he's kind of like, just the raw tools that he's got. Like, he hits the daylights out of the baseball, and that's something that's super exciting for any young player. And he doesn't strike. I mean, he struck out a lot as a big leaguer. Hopefully can cut down that rate a little bit, but I guess it's kind of a byproduct of hitting the ball so hard is you're going to miss a lot because you're constantly getting your A swing off. But we'll see how he continues to develop at the big league level. And I guess one thing worth noting, we haven't fully ironed out how we're going to decide over the course of 162 who the winner is of this draft. It sounded like we were kind of leaning towards just raw accumulation of WAR, or running it through like an MLB The Show sim and seeing how that goes,
or both.
Or both. Porque no los dos. And we'll see kind of who ends up winning it from there. But looks like the next pick is in for Jason, and that is Sean Armstrong of the Cleveland Guardians. This is actually how I learned that he is a Cleveland Guardian. I had him on my list of Red Sox free agent targets this offseason. I completely missed him signing with Cleveland, but that's a very good bullpen addition there for Jason, whose pen is really starting to, like, his pitching staff is almost like completely buttoned up. Like, he's already drafted how many pitchers now? I think 6 arms in his first 9 picks, or 5 arms in his first 9 picks. He's been going pitcher heavy. He's been very Breslow pilled today. What are your initial thoughts on the Sean Armstrong selection, Hunter? You are still muted, sir. You are muted.
You're right.
There we go.
I unmuted the wrong thing. I even hit it and it muted, and then I was like, oh, I muted myself, and I unhit it. That was foolish. Yeah, we're getting a lot better. I guess it shouldn't surprise me that there's this many like good relievers available, just because in an expansion draft, relievers, barring like just being the elite of the elite, are not going to get protected nearly as often. Like, teams are going to focus on their star hitters, their top of the rotation arms, some of their top prospects. So I guess it shouldn't surprise me that there's going to be a lot of really good relievers that slip through the cracks. But at this point, they've both built really strong bullpens. And Armstrong's just a guy who, he threw 74 innings out of the bullpen last year. He appeared in 71 games. That's ridiculous. So he's absolutely a workhorse who you can turn to multiple times a week, which is a very underrated part of a lot of relievers. I think that's such a big reason Red Sox fans fell in love with. Now I feel like I shouldn't say his name because I'm pretty sure he's available in this draft, but we talked about him before, so it doesn't matter. That's a big reason why Red Sox fans fell in love with Brennan Bernardino, because it seemed like he was going out there 3-4 times a week. And that's something that Sean Armstrong can do for you, and he can do it at a high level and continue like that. There really isn't this like massive drop off of like, oh, well, he pitched a lot, so the things went downhill. Like, no, he was phenomenal from start to finish last year.
I'm starting to think that Derrik is pulling my leg here with these picks, because I've got his next one queued up, and I enjoy the pick.
I'm excited.
I promise I'm not.
I enjoy where you're going here.
This is the guy. When I was starting to look at this team, as soon as I saw him, I've been zeroed in on him, and I don't want to risk not taking him. So, and this is the guy I've been high on in years past before he was even traded to this team.
With that, it is Prelander Baroa of the Chicago White Sox. You guys guessed it. Another reliever going to Derrik. which is why I said he is pulling my leg with these picks, because we are now 10 picks in and Derrik has 0 starting pitchers.
Yeah, but I got 5 relievers.
You do. You definitely have, like, you got to get your bullpen squared away in some capacity, like at some point over the course of these 25 picks. It's just so funny that we're again going into now pick 21 and you still have 0 starters. But I do like Prelander Baroa a lot. I actually had him as a potential trade target for the Red Sox going into last year. Again, velo off the charts. Average fastball velocity last year of 97.7 miles an hour. 3.32 was his ERA. Tons of strikeouts, tons of walks. We're talking kind of like a Darwinson Hernandez-esque arm here, where the stuff is there. He strikes out the world. Also will walk the ballpark if you let him. But we'll see kind of which way the dam breaks in his favor or against him going forward. But, I personally really like the Prelander Baroa pick. I'm assuming you're not going to stretch him out as a starter. He did make 26 starts in the minor leagues in 2022. So that's why I posed the question. Not starting. Good to know.
This guy throws fireballs. I want him in the bullpen.
That's more than fair. More than fair. So what are your thoughts on the Prelander Baroa pick? Hunter.
I'm on this time, right? Yeah, okay, we're good.
Yeah, you're good.
Not as much to say just because didn't pitch last season. Only has now I don't have the number up. What, 20 something innings in the majors, right?
20
and 2/3 innings in the majors. Absolutely has disgusting stuff, but this is very much a what are you going to get from him post injury. So it's something I feel like I've said with a couple of people of like the pendulum could swing either way, but this feels especially true for him considering he really hasn't gotten to make much of a mark in the majors yet, and now he's coming back off injury. Definitely a really exciting arm, really fun. Could be disgusting. Could be a closer for Derrik in a couple seasons if he wants to move on from Duvall. But yeah, a fun, exciting pick. I'm gonna beg him to take a starter with his next one though.
Yeah, it's like I said, I'm starting to think he's pulling my leg here. It's like there was a fantasy draft or fantasy league I was in this year where I didn't draft a starter until like round 19, and then I drafted all Japanese starters for like the next 5 rounds. But we'll see where we go. I mean, again, like very talented, and I did misspeak when I say last year he had a 3.32. It was 2024 where his ERA was 3.32. But he is
all of last year.
Yeah, missed the entire 2025 season with an elbow injury. Controlled through the 2031 season, and he is just 25 years old. He'll be 26 on the 18th of April. Somebody that could give you multiple innings of relief, probably more along the lines of a low leverage, maybe some medium leverage. Think like Jorge Alcala before Jorge Alcala was terrible for the Red Sox. Like kind of that role.
Except Burrow is actually young.
Except Baroa is young. Yeah, that is correct. But yeah. And then hang on one sec. Jason has given me his next pick. I guess we can still announce it. The graphic isn't in there yet for him, but I'll run it so we can actually talk about it a little bit. Just give me one sec to get the banner ready. And this is actually going to be, looks like the first pick that Derrik makes that is very defensive centric.
I mean, Jason.
Which is Jason.
Jason. Oh my God, I've done it again. I'm not good at multitasking, as you guys have figured out. My bad here. But Jason's next pick, Miles Straw of the Toronto Blue Jays. Interesting direction here from the Blue Jays standpoint, and I won't get into like where my brain went, but we talked about the Blue Jays a little bit yesterday, while we were kind of figuring out how we were going to present this. But yeah, very defensive-minded outfielder. Not a whole lot of pop, not a whole lot of offense in general, but a guy that you hit it to him, it's going to get caught, and that is something that Jason has a lot of in the outfield. Derrik does too, but Jason now with Miles Straw patrolling center and Willie Abreu in right. Hunter, what are your thoughts on the Miles Straw pick?
Yeah, he's a very Derrik type pick where offense is questionable, but you're getting just such phenomenal defense and there's some things offensively that he's going to give you. He's not going to strike out, which is huge. He can steal some bases. He had 30 steals back in 2021. He has 2 other seasons of 20 plus steals. And last year was just it was a very good bounce back year for him. He struggled a little bit in 2023 and then only played in 7 games in 2024. And then last year, 262, 313, 367 in 137 games. His first year with the Blue Jays, obviously he gets all that. He gets that experience of the playoff run. So he's bringing a lot to the table. He's also not old, but he's not young either. Like he's not. You're going to get a couple more good seasons from him. So it's not like you're getting a 37-year-old. You're getting someone who's still going to give you 3, 4, maybe even 5 really solid seasons. But he's also a good veteran presence for some of the younger guys in the clubhouse.
Yeah, last year 91 WRC plus is actually his best since 2021. Again, defense is his calling card. Again, patrolling the outfield with Willie Abreu. It's almost like he loses the benefit of playing next to Cedar Rafaela, but he gets Miles Straw, which is not a horrible consolation prize in this world. Is that kind of what you're going for there, Jason, with that pick?
Yeah, I mean, if you have a good defensive center fielder, it completely changes your game. And like Miles Straw is one of the best, if not the best. Well, actually, Cedon's the best, but he's one of the best defensive center fielders in the game. And the bat is kind of secondary. And you're getting a guy who can really, really, really catch the ball, and he's fast, and that's the biggest thing about him. And Hunter said it too, like big bounce back year. I'm excited to see what he can do. But yeah, Southfield's very defensive heavy too.
That it is, and then that brings us on to Derrick's next pick, which is Gavin Sheets of the San Diego Padres. I noticed that you amended my initial banner of just first base and gave him the first base left field designation, Derrik. Where are we expecting him to play mostly first? Where are we thinking of putting him?
As of right now, I would assume primarily first base, but that does not mean he won't get games in left. And it's got a little bit of versatility as well. So with that, I guess it kind of leaves my options open. If I want to take a first baseman, I can. If I want to keep him at first, I can. If I want to kind of mix them back and forth, I can also do that as well. It just leaves me open. And also, too, Gavin Sheets had a very good year last year in a ballpark that is pitcher-friendly, might I add. Utah, I don't actually know what it is above sea level, but I think it's relatively above sea level. It's not Colorado, but I'm assuming it's a little bit over sea level. I might be pulling that out of my ass.
That's fine. We won't fact check you.
I'm looking.
Owner of a team doesn't know the elevation.
Sorry, GM, not owner. 4,226 feet above sea level. So not Denver, but close, right? Hoping the ball is going to fly off of Sheets' bat. Yes,
it's the 3/4 mile high club.
I will say, could it be an issue for my pitchers? Yes, but this is why I'm grabbing as many good relievers, because maybe, as we've seen with the Rockies, they don't all work, but some of them do, right? So in that sense, that's also part of the reason I've been targeting some of the relievers I have been. Because God knows the Rockies don't have any good starting pitchers ever. And I think part of that might be due to the elevation. So,
yeah, it's not like they've never had good starters. They just don't have good seasons. They just don't have good seasons. Like Kyle Freeland had a good year a few years back, and his reward for being a good pitcher for the Rockies is he's actually been stuck there his entire major league career with no end in sight. What are your thoughts on the? Sorry, I see you're about to take a sip of something, Hunter.
Nope,
I will. Okay, I can continue if you were about to.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, give your thoughts on the Gavin Sheets pick.
Really good offensive player, 20 plus home run potential, gets a lot of doubles, drove in 71 runs last year, which was a career high. Kind of exactly what Derrick's offense needed, was just a guy that you can stick in the middle of the order and trust that he's going to produce. You're not kind of playing the potential, the what if game with him. It's just like, hey, he's going to give us really solid offensive numbers. So this was Derrik absolutely addressing a need.
For sure. Getting some pop, adding some runs to his lineup. Still does not have a starting pitcher. I will remind everybody we're 11 picks in, no starters.
There's still time for it.
For Derrik.
I got 15 picks left.
Still has 10 more or 15 more picks. No, you have 14 more because that was your
14.
Pick.
Oh, you said
14. 11. Whatever.
I was 15.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm doing my math wrong. I'm thinking 26. I have 15 spots on my roster left.
That is true. Oh, that's true. That is true. Didn't even think about starting pitching being an option in the free agent market. My mind immediately went to bats when we were talking about free agents. So that is a very good point. That is a very good point. And with that, we've got Jason's next pick, which is left-handed pitcher Gabe Spire of the Seattle Mariners, who had a very, very good year last year for the Mariners. And then his manager decided that he should pitch every single game in the playoffs. And that was a lot less effective of a strategy in October, but still had a very good year nonetheless. He had a 2.61 ERA, 11.9 Ks per nine. A nice bounce back from 2024, where he kind of had the opposite end of the volatility spectrum that is the reality for relievers, where he had a 5.70 ERA, but peripherals were very good in 2024. Has pivoted away from the ground ball heavy profile of his 2023 and before, kind of arc. And now he is much more strikeout dominant with some ground ball potential, but again, more in line with getting punch outs nowadays. So we get a lefty into Jason's pen, which I think that's his first lefty arm in general. No, he got Jacob Lopez with his with the 11th pick. So his second lefty, but his first that's going into the bullpen. What is your initial reaction to the Spire pick, Hunter?
You mentioned manager was throwing him into every postseason game. He kind of did that in the regular season too. He appeared in 76 games through 62 innings. So it's not like he was going out there and tossing 4 innings a game or anything, but as close to a specialist as you could get in today's league, I guess, because you can't go out there just for one more out anymore unless it's to end an inning, or for one more batter, I should say, unless it's to end an inning. But yeah, really good stuff. Phenomenal numbers last year. Still, for the most part, good numbers. He had 2024 was a struggle, but outside of that, he's been really good. And I don't know if you mentioned this and I wasn't paying attention, but an important part of his lore is that he was drafted by the Red Sox in 2013.
I did not mention that.
No.
So
okay.
Good shout. How did he end up in Kansas City? Because that's where he debuted in 19. Was he Rule 5'd out?
I don't think so.
No, because he only made 9 appearances in 20.
Yeah, I was going to say he was drafted in 2013, 19th round. And then I don't remember him at all in the Red Sox minor league system.
Yeah, I see that spelling of his last name, and I just think Alex Spear, and that's just kind of it. That's kind of where my brain goes. So, Jason, your thoughts on your own pick here with Gabe Spire?
Yeah, he was thrown into the fire. Literally 76 games, 62 innings pitched. So I don't know how he still has an arm, but he has one of the best fastballs in the game too. Really intriguing numbers. Going to strike out a lot of guys. Had 82 strikeouts as a relief pitcher, which is pretty good. But yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do for my team. And it's my second lefty pitcher in general, but solid pitching staff so far. I'm excited where I'm at now, and I'm looking forward to seeing what I can do later.
Stocking up on arms, whereas and you've kind of had a nice healthy balance of relievers and starters. And that brings us to Derrick's next pick here. which is Kyle Higashioka of the Texas Rangers. He is now by getting selected here in this expansion draft. Sorry, he's on his 4th team in the last 4 years, so he's been around a bit now, but he's a guy who's defensive minded but has a ton of pop. So he's kind of like Austin Hedges if Austin Hedges actually hit for power instead of just exists in the batter's box. So I'm big fan of Kyle Higashioka. Big fan of this pick. Again, leaning more towards the defensive side, but does have some power, which is much needed in Derrick's lineup. Hunter, your thoughts on Kyle Higashioka?
Yeah, I'm with you. I've always been a fan of his. I was very happy when he left the Yankees organization because it was one of those things where you were fighting with your own feelings of hearing Yankees fans act like he would hit 45 home runs if he played a full season, but also wanting to be like, no, he is genuinely good, but you guys are for whatever reason acting like he is the greatest hitter of all time. But yeah, a phenomenal defensive catcher who, like you said, actually does have legitimate pop. I feel like that's something with a lot of defensive catchers you'll hear like, oh, in theory they can hit some home runs, and most of them finish the year with like a 302 slugging percentage. He actually has power. So yeah, he's someone, he'll be a good platoon with Sean Murphy and or a good backup, I should say. I'm assuming Sean Murphy will get a majority of the starts back there, but he also makes it so if Sean Murphy's hot, you can give Sean Murphy a rest by DHing him some days, and you're not losing much defensively with Higgy back there.
For sure. Explain your pick, Derek.
Yeah, actually, I was originally I was looking at getting 2 of 3 catchers, and obviously with Sean Murphy being my go-to choice, I knew I wanted Higashioka or someone else to be my backup, but I can't pick the other person because someone from his team has already been picked. So I figured I might as well. No one's been picked from the Rangers, and we're getting to that point in the round here. This is the point of an expansion draft where your pickings get really, really slim, especially because there's only so many teams available to pick from. So in that sense, nabbing Higashioka was, I don't know if I'd say best available, but best available in terms of what I was looking for. And locking up my catcher position means I don't have to go catcher in the second round.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely, it's a position that's not necessarily super strong to begin with in baseball. And like Hunter mentioned this when you took Sean Murphy, it's like the catching, like if you have a good catcher, you don't want to expose them. Like if we're talking specifically, just from a Red Sox standpoint, we're protecting their top 12 players. Is Carlos Narvaez a top 12 player in a vacuum on the Red Sox? Probably not, but he's a very good everyday catcher. So from a value standpoint, yes, very much you do not want to lose him, especially when your alternative then is Connor Wong. So not to throw shade at Connor Wong, but definitely worse than Carlos Narvaez. And I say that as a Connor Wong truther. That's my guy. I made it was somewhat of a bit last year, but unfortunately, maybe this year he'll hit a home run though. So who knows? And with that, it looks like Jason's next pick is in, and that is Jake McCarthy of the Arizona Diamondbacks. McCarthy kind of forgot he was there, if we're being honest. Like it's like Corbin Carroll's team. Obviously, they had Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who missed most of last year after his leg exploded. But Alec Thomas has been their center fielder. The talk about them adding to their team, but Jake McCarthy still been there, steals a lot of bases, super fast, super annoying to face. Was a fun player to watch in my 1 year of like kind of covering the Diamondbacks. I say that when I say kind of, I was an intern that covered them at times. So yes, but yeah, I'm a big fan of Jake McCarthy. it'll be cool to see him get an opportunity somewhere where he can actually kind of play every day and not have to look over his shoulder all the time. And in this expansion draft world, he is going to be afforded that opportunity. And what are your thoughts on your own pick there, Jason?
Yeah, one of those like eye test guys, like, some of the metrics might not like check out, but a pain in the butt to face. He's fast, didn't get that many opportunities, but in the new team where he's not, getting blocked by a Corbin Carroll, provides solid defense too. Has some pop, not a ton, but it's a pick that I like a lot, and just watch the guy. He's very fun to watch, and I'm excited he might be a superstar on the Bandits coming up.
It's 2 years with at least 90 or at least 350 plate appearances. He had a 116 WRC plus in 2022 and a 110 in 2024. So when he plays, he typically plays pretty well. He's definitely a solid player. Hunter, what are your thoughts on Jake McCarthy?
Yeah, I think you said it really well with just him kind of being like a forgotten guy there. The overall numbers last year, not great, 204, 247, 345 slash line, but he got optioned in April, which is crazy considering how good of a year he had the year prior. 285 batting average, 749 OPS, 25 steals, good defense. So it really was kind of just a case of they didn't have a spot for him at that point anymore. And that kind of, then he gets called back up in June, and then you're not playing every day. And a lot of that stuff kind of really can get a hitter out of their groove. So it's not surprising that the numbers weren't good last year, but he is someone that has shown he can produce offensively, and he can get you like 3 straight steals or 3 straight seasons with 20 plus steals prior to 2025. Always 2 seasons of 280 or above batting average. He hits for a semi decent amount of power, a career high of 8 homers, but like he gets some triples, he gets a couple doubles. So he brings some versatility offensively. And yeah, just someone who is underrated because of the situation he's in. And I think if there was an expansion draft and he got taken and he got to be an everyday player for a team, I think he would put up really solid numbers.
Where are you thinking he would play for your team, Jason? Because you have Miles Straw, obviously you have Willier, so he's not going to play right field. Where are you thinking McCarthy would sit from an outfield standpoint?
Potentially left field. I haven't decided yet. Maybe a platoon in center, but there's still a lot of draft, and we still got to figure a lot out.
That's a very political answer from you. There's still a lot. It was very Craig Breslow of you. Still a lot of time left to decide where we're going. I do like Jake McCarthy though. He was a lot of fun. I thought he would be somebody that they tried to sell high on after that 2022 season when it was pretty clear, because that was when Alec Thomas had also just come up and he was a top prospect, and it was like they were kind of the Dollar Tree version of the Red Sox, where the Red Sox had their big 3. The D-backs had theirs with Corbin Carroll, Alec Thomas, and McCarthy wasn't really like a big prospect, but he was, another young outfielder that they had. And then Corbin Carroll is the only one of those 3 that actually ended up being good and playing every single day, which is crazy to me. McCarthy out of options as well. So he's somebody that has to stick on your team or he's out of there entirely. So, we're in the final 5 picks of the first round, and Derrik still has no starting pitching. Is this the round where he takes a starter? I don't know. He has not told me who he's picking. So I'm like eagerly staring at my phone, waiting for the.
Felt like you were setting up for something there.
Yeah, I was like hoping maybe it would pop up on my screen as I was talking, but no, still no starting pitching yet. Be cool to see where his mind's going with the rotation. Because reminder, he can only take 1 free agent, so he has to address the rotation at some point. So will it be this round? We shall see.
And what round are we on?
It's only 2 rounds, but as far as like the picks, this is
Yeah.
the 13th pick for Derrik here. And then each of the 2 have their final 2 picks of the first round, and then we'll settle for a few minutes and then take care of round 2. Which, yeah, I don't know. It's oh, the pick is in. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. He has done it. He has done it. The impossible has happened. He has taken a starting pitcher. And it's kind of rude because this team hadn't really signed anybody this offseason. And they just finally did. And they immediately lose him. Tyler Mahle goes to Derrik. With his 13th pick, first starter taken by Derrik in this draft. And I'm gonna throw it right to you, Derrik. Why Tyler Mahle? What do you like about him that made him your first starting pitcher taken?
I mean, this is a guy, if you look back in his career, this is a guy who had sub-4 ERAs with the Reds in Great American Small Park. Has struggled with injuries recently, but in the 86 and 2/3 innings he pitched last year, 2.18 ERA, 3.37 FIP. Health is a question mark with him. Don't get me wrong. It definitely is. Like, I won't hide that fact. But 4-seam splitter, cutter, slider, 4-pitch mix, very 4-seam heavy, but it is a very good 4-seamer, albeit not that hard. There are a little bit underlying number concerns if you really dig into the Baseball Savant page. But he performed, right? And I think at the end of the day, you got to perform, and we do need starters. And I've always been high on Tyler Mahle, and he's been the kind of guy, as I formatted the damn thing wrong. That's nice. There we go. That's how we're formatting it. But no, Mahle definitely middle of the rotation arm. The Giants protected a couple younger pitchers, which leaving Mahle available for me, I will gladly take Tyler Mahle on my team.
For sure. I like Tyler Mahle. He's a solid arm. Hunter, what are your thoughts on that pick?
It finally happened. It's a big moment for us. Yeah, that's a very solid pickup. He had a really strong year last year. Health concerns, he's barely topped 100 innings total in the last 3 seasons combined. But we've seen him have really strong seasons in the past, and him, a 2.18 ERA and 86 and 2/3 innings after only throwing, 38 and a third innings combined over the last 2 seasons. I think that's a really positive, a positive thing to build off of, because for him to be able to come back after barely pitching the last few seasons, and 86 and 2/3 innings isn't a ton, but it was still enough to feel comfortable about the numbers that he put up and feel like it's not like, that's not just like, oh, he had, 3 good starts and we're going to pretend like everything's good. Like, no, he made 16 starts last year. A good first arm for Derrik's rotation, especially you don't need, with the bullpen that he's built up, he doesn't need his starters to all be guys who are going to give him 7 or 8 innings. If his guys can get him through 5 innings, he'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely has the bullpen to withstand 5 and dive guys. That's what Tyler Mahle was last season. The K's were down, but I think for him, it was more a matter of surviving the season. I mean, he still didn't, but like he is having a normal off season. He's going to, well, in reality, he will be a San Francisco Giant in a very nice ballpark for him as somebody who doesn't get a ton of ground balls. Being in a big outfield will help. But yeah, you can't really argue against a 2.18 ERA as a starter for 16 starts. Like I love a good use of FIP as much as the next guy, but sometimes when we're talking about starting pitcher, ERA matters a whole lot, and I think sometimes people will forget that. It's like, at the end of the day, it adds up. Over like who you are over 32 starts is generally who you are. Like a guy who, like the thing that. Not to go on a rant here, but like the big thing for Yankees fans for a couple years was how unlucky Ben Rice was all the time. And it's like, well, over 90 plus games, like you can't, like, maybe projecting him out is a little bit easier to be like, oh, he got unlucky, but like, sometimes it's the sum of your parts over 162, and sometimes people will forget that. And it looks like Jason's pick is in. Give me 1 sec to cue it up. Get the banner on the screen. Get the sound effect going. And did I do it again? Did I say Derrik and not Jason? Oh, I didn't. Okay. I'm so self-conscious of it now. Jason's next pick is Brad Keller of the Philadelphia Phillies. Honestly, curious to see, and so I'll ask you right away, are you thinking Brad Keller as a reliever, or are you going to put him back in the rotation? Because I know that was another thing about his market, was teams were looking at him as a starter.
Reliever. He was filthy. He was filthy this year. He had a 2.07 ERA and a whip below 1 in 69 2/3 innings pitched. Like, I don't know. Like, genuinely, like, I don't know what the Cubs did, but like they did something, clearly something right, and they fixed him. Like, there's a whole lot to like about him. They figured out a good fastball and slider with him. Someone who you can trust, even in the down the stretch. It's like, this guy's kind of trustworthy in the back end of your rotation, man. I'm very excited to see what he can do. And I know I keep saying the same things, but like, it's true. From a guy who played almost 15 games with the Red Sox to coming to his age 30 season doing this is insane. And he's such a good player now for whatever reason.
Made me pretty mad.
It was such a Dombrowski signing. Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. He's gone. His fastball added 3 miles an hour on average velocity, by the way. So just to, piss people off a little bit more. Mostly me. It made me so angry when I was writing him up this offseason. I'm like, oh, he added 3 ticks to his heater. No, I'm not talking 0.3. 3 full miles an hour. Asshole. Hunter, what are your thoughts on that pick?
Yeah, surprising season from him last year. Relief pitching in general is one of the most volatile thing in all of sports. You will see pitchers look elite for a couple seasons and then be just bottom of the barrel trash, and then be good the next. Look what happened to Devin Williams this year. And would it really shock anyone if he ended up being fantastic then this year? So there is that fear with Brad Keller of, was this just like a 1-year weird anomaly where maybe the Cubs tweaked a little something and it worked, and now he's going to go somewhere else and things aren't going to work out well for him. He is one of the guys who I've seen a decent amount of Red Sox fans act like they were upset when the Red Sox got rid of him in 2024. And that narrative's always very funny to me, just because he was bad. Let's stop pretending like he was good for the Red Sox. But whatever the Cubs figured out with him last year clearly worked. Can the Phillies continue that trend? Who knows? And who knows if it was sustainable with the Cubs. Sometimes you just get lucky even with the hitters that you get to go up against in a game.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't have any stat in front of me. I'm not going to pretend like I do, but maybe he was continuously getting the 7, 8, 9s of orders in a lot of games, and it was just working out really well for him. But I mean, also, like you mentioned, he did add 3 ticks to his velocity. Again, is that sustainable?
What a dick.
We'll find out. But
so mean.
But in a vacuum, it's a really good pick, because this is a guy who just had easily the best season of his career. He appeared in 68 games, 67 of them as a reliever. He has started in the past. So if Jason did need a starter at some point in the season, he's someone he could turn to. So yeah, he gives you good versatility. He can give you a dominant 1 inning, or he could give you a couple safe innings. And in a pinch, he could be a starter for you. So that's a good versatile pick.
For sure. And I don't want to get too emotional talking about Brad Keller. I've already called him an asshole twice for having the audacity to add velo after.
How dare he get better?
How dare he improve on his career? But Derrik's next pick is none other than Jacob Young of the Washington Nationals, center fielder over there. I am in dire need of water. I will kick it to Hunter. To give your thoughts on his pick?
Just another outfielder for Derrik. I'm assuming. Why can't I think of who it was now? Sheets is going to play first base for you? Question mark. Or I guess you did say you
as
had
of now that's the plan.
Yeah, you did have the potential to platoon as well. But intriguing bat. Not a ton of power. He has 5 home runs in 1,006 plate appearances in the majors. But he gives you a ton of speed. He had 33 steals back in 2024 with the Nationals. Little bit of a down year this year as opposed to last year, but still gives you something offensively, like sub 600 OPS. Not positive, but he was hovering around 650 the 2 years before that. And for him, it's more about the speed. If he can figure out a way to get on base, a sub 300 on base percentage last year isn't going to cut it. But he gives you speed. He gives you defense. And it feels like there's still something with him offensively. Like it feels like there is something that can be unlocked to get him to a better place offensively. He's never going to be, Juan Soto with the bat, but if you can get him to even be like a 320, 330 OPS guy or OBP guy, all of a sudden you could see him being, 40 plus steals, which makes everyone on your offense that much more dangerous, because now you have a guy on base who is in scoring position from first base and also probably isn't going to be at first base for very long. So fun. That's a fun pick. You're getting not much offensively, but you're getting speed, which the one thing that doesn't slump in baseball is always going to be speed. So,
and arguably
so
defense
he's
as well.
always bringing that with you.
And arguably defense as well. So, I mean,
also
too, like potential pinch runner as well. Not saying this is a postseason team, but like you never know. And teams that get into the postseason, I mean, you need a guy, who can run, even if it's not to steal a base, even if it's to stretch something from first to third, first to home, second to home, right? Score on a sac fly, as Nate Eaton should have.
We're still mad about that.
Colton Cowser's got a cannon. So what, man? I love Alex Cora, but that was like the lamest excuse. It's like, well, we decided that we wouldn't run because Colton Cowser has a cannon. Just say you weren't comfortable. Just say you were a pussy.
I think he was. I think he did.
Just say it. But just say it.
I think he did say that. Jacob Young, so far his major league career has not been anything like super special. I mean, 2024, he was decent against left-handed pitching. Had an OPS of 691, hit 283 against them. Obviously super fast, obviously good speed, or I said that, good outfielder as well. So, I mean, at some point you're going to have to draft bench guys as well. So like Jacob Young, 4th outfielder, pinch runner, as Derrik said, somebody who could factor in late in games and win games that way, and then give you a handful of starts here or there. But with that, we go to Jason's next pick, which warms my heart, is Brendan Bernardino of the Colorado Rockies. Thank you for saving my GOAT from the Rockies, because he deserves better than that. He deserves so much better than the Colorado Rockies organization. And we'll throw Derrik back into the draft position. So that's actually the last pick of the first round for Jason here. So why the Brennan Bernardino selection there, Jason?
Well, first off, he's our Lord and Savior, Brennan Bernardino.
Yes.
2, let's save him from Colorado. 3, if you don't pitch his arm off, he's a good pitcher. If he still has his UCL intact, he's a good pitcher. If you don't overuse him, he's a good pitcher. I mean, as Sox fans, as Sox fans, we saw how good he was at times. We also saw 4 out of 5 days he's pitching, and then he's just out there getting left to die. And it's why? Come on, be better with your team. And I just think Bernardino, I think he'll benefit with the right usage. And someone had to be selected from the Rockies too. So
yeah, that is true. And you actually have 2 guys now on your team that pitch all the time. So it'll be nice for both of them to get, maybe a day or 2 off here or there over the course of 162. I mean, they both pitched a ton, so they can just pitch on days that the other guy doesn't. With Gabe Spire and Brennan Bernardino on the same roster. Hunter, what are your thoughts on the Bernie pick?
Absolutely love it. As you've both mentioned at this point, it's something I brought up with Spire, I believe it was, how like Bernardino, he seemed to get thrown in there as often as possible. He was someone that there were weeks where he genuinely was appearing in 4 games. So we know he can do that. It's better when he doesn't. The numbers are just glaringly obvious that it's better to basically for any reliever to not have them throw every other game. But he over the last couple seasons, there is a reason Red Sox fans loved him so much, because he continued to be getting thrown in there so often and produced almost all the time. And the Red Sox really jerked him around for a while. I mean, he started last year in the minor leagues, despite the fact that he didn't really deserve that, but it was just kind of a case of he had options. And then this year he was just phenomenal for them basically all the way through. So yeah, it hurt to see him go. So I'm glad that he is back with one of them.
Saved from hell. He is saved from hell. He had a 3.14 ERA last year. Big improvement from the 4.06 it was in 2024. Was also really good in 2023, where he had really endeared himself to Red Sox fans after being a waiver wire pickup from Seattle. So he goes from a team that religiously beats the crap out of their relievers to a team that religiously beats the crap out of their relievers to then the Rockies, who beats the crap out of every single pitcher known to man. And then now to Nashville, and we'll see how Jason's manager treats him. So we'll see if the treatment's any better for Bernie over there. So with the last pick of the first round, Derrik selects Chase Silseth of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Now, this is a guy who has started games in the past, but I see on the graphic he is listed as a reliever for Derrik, so I'm not even going to bother asking him if he's going to put him in the rotation. I know the answer to the question. Swingman? Okay.
Could be a swingman.
Sure. So what are your thoughts? What is your reaction to that pick for yourself, Derrik?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. My only other option I had written down for the Angels was Robert Stevenson. He's making $11 million a year and has barely pitched in the last 3 years. So, and I did want I wanted a guy in the bullpen that could operate as kind of like a swingman, could be a bulk guy if needed. And the bullpen, I like that. I miss the old-fashioned long reliever. So, not saying Silseth will be that, but I could see him throwing 100 innings in, 30 appearances, maybe 30 to 40 appearances, right? I could see that. So, I'll take it. I'm happy with that pick. I feel like it was kind of the best option that I had there. The Angels don't have a ton. It's the same thing with the Rockies, right? There's not a ton there. So I feel like with the options I had, I'm happy with the Silseth pick.
What are your thoughts on the pick, Hunter?
Yeah, like Derrik said, there's just not a ton to choose from a couple of these teams, and the Angels are 100% one of those teams. But Silseth does have good upside. He's still young. He's started games. He's been a reliever. Obviously, very small sample size last year, just 10 games, 11 innings, but looked phenomenal out of the bullpen for the Angels in that small stretch. So it feels like a good high upside pick and someone who, like Derrik said, could be a swingman for his team. He could make 25 appearances out of the bullpen and make 10 starts and really help the team when there's the inevitable injuries to the pitching staff, just because every team is going to have to deal with them. And when they come, you need people like Silseth who you could turn into a starter for a stretch of time.
Yeah, it sometimes I forget that there are guys that that you just can't pick from certain teams. So like when I see Chase Silseth pop up, I'm like, huh, interesting. But yeah, no, for sure. Thinking along the lines of the Angels, do you want to give a guy who's hurt a lot, 11 mil a year, or do you want a guy who posts and can serve a purpose as, out of in a multitude of roles? And like, again, for Derrik, who only has one starter, maybe he ends up being in his opening day rotation, but we'll see. There's still a second round. You guys have seen the draft board is off the screen. Figure we take a few seconds before we get it back into picking. Derrik does have the first pick of the second round, but I'll leave it up to you guys. How are you guys feeling after your first round? Jason, was there anybody that Derrik sniped from you that you went, damn, I had to pivot to somebody else?
I had my eye on Jake Myers, but I thought he would be available later on. But I think the more complicated part, I'll speak on behalf of just in general. I feel like the hard part is just like I have these guys on my board who are high up, but I can't take them. Like hypothetically, if whatever, if hypothetically if Jose Abreu was still playing for the Astros, I know he's not, but like if Jose Abreu was high on my board and Derrik took Jake Myers, I can't take him, even if I want him to be my first baseman until the second round. So
right.
there's some stuff that kind of blocks me. I have like a note sheet here of like who I want to take with my first pick of the second round and whatnot. But I think that was the toughest part. But overall, I'm very happy. I got most of my guys.
How about you, Derrik? Was there anybody that you got sniped from?
Maybe Max Muncy, but I was gonna take Myers and Meadows ahead of him, so it wasn't like too shocking. I didn't expect him to go third. I was hoping maybe he'd go like fifth, right? I guess Muncy maybe. There were a couple players Jason took that maybe I wasn't looking at that specific player, but I was looking at someone else from that team that kind of sniped me in that way, I guess. Because they're like I was going through and there's like one guy I'm like, oh, I could take this guy to play this position or to be this guy in the rotation or to be this person in the bullpen. And nope, because Jason took someone else from that team. And and that's kind of the interesting aspect of this being an expansion draft, right? But that's also what makes it really unique. But it truly does bring out the strategy, because if you want someone, you really have to go get them, or you might not even have the chance to get them, right? I took Sean Murphy first overall. No other Braves players could get. I took him for my first pick, right? No other Braves players could be taken the rest of the first round, right? The Braves have a couple good players on their board, right? Jason couldn't take any of them, right?
Right.
With the Red Sox, he takes Willier first. I'm now blocked out of every good Red Sox player on the board till the second round, and if Jason takes one of them before I get one of them, then I'm totally wiped out on the Red Sox, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of the interesting kind of strategy part of this. But I got most of what I wanted. There was a little bit in the middle there where I was like Jojo Romero was like a little bit like not off my board, but I was like banking like back and forth. Do I take him now? Do I wait? The Ronnie Mauricio pick, I was back and forth. Do I take him? Do I take someone else? same thing with the Molly pick. I actually looked at like 8 different guys until like before I got to Molly, who I didn't even have on my draft board. And then I was like, oh, nobody's been taken from the Giants. Molly's available. Hello. Right. I totally forgot he even signed with the Giants. Right. So there have been a couple tough picks for me in that sense. Like, like we're getting dwindling down to teams available to pick from. I don't know who to take. But outside of that, I feel like I did well. I got mostly what I wanted for the most part in terms of player type. Not all the exact players I was looking for, but I got most of them.
Yeah, and we still got a second round to get to, which is just 10 picks for both of you guys, and then we'll have the free agent at the end. Trying to figure out how do we want to do this, because we're going to break it down into a second episode, right, for posting. Am I just going to sit here in silence for 5 seconds and just be like, oh, welcome back for the second round?
That's your break right there. That's the break right there.
Yeah. Okay. There's our break. So we're back now for the second round of the draft. Sorry, Hunter, you get no talk about you get no first round recap from you, unless you're really dying.
Nope, I'm good.
No, it'd be good to recap it right now on because this is a separate episode. It'd be a good little recap.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to? You don't got anything for?
Not really.
No.
Well, I mean, I took a lot of relievers and a lot of defense first guys.
No starters, or one starter.
Well,
you got one
Tyler
starter.
Molly.
You get one starter. You got one starter who has barely pitched in the last handful of years.
Hey, he's still a starter. Better than what Patrick Sandoval did last year.
That is true. I love
Patrick Sandoval, unfortunately.
But will he be better than Patrick Sandoval in 2026? And that's something
Is Patrick Sandoval going to make the Red Sox roster in 2026?
Is Patrick Sandoval going to get drafted in this round? Who knows? You never know. I'm just saying. I am just saying. Just give me 1 sec. So Derrik has his pick ready to rock to open the second round.
Yep, the pick is in.
Pick is in
already, because I know he's in. I've known who I've been taking for a time.
But we didn't put down it on the banner, so give me 1 sec.
Yep, I got it down.
Robert Suarez of the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Why did I say Dodgers?
Why is it Dodgers?
I don't know.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's my bad. No,
I literally put it
on me. That is on me.
I already forgot what
Atlanta Braves, Robert Suarez.
Yes.
That is my bad. So that's going to be your closer, Derrik?
Yeah. The thing was supposed to say closer. I'll change that.
It's fine.
I got it. There we go.
So the first pick of the second round, we got Robert Suarez, closer for the Atlanta Braves, not the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's on me. I swapped him and Edwin Diaz in my brain for a split second.
I mean, I'll take Edwin Diaz too.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Hunter, your thoughts on the Robert Suarez pick?
New round, same Derrik.
This is also why I took Sean Murphy with my first pick. Blocks out the Braves, and then I nab Robert Suarez.
Oh, okay. I was confused for a second. Okay. Yeah, just the pitching is absurd on Derrik, or the relief pitching is absurd on Derrick's team. It is just another guy. I know Derrik just said that he is the closer, but he has like 3 or 4 people who could realistically be an obvious closer option on 85% of major league rosters. 36 saves in 2024, 30 or 40 in 2025. So you're getting someone who is about as much of a sure thing as you could possibly get. 36 of 42 in save opportunities in 2024, 40 of 45 in 2025. So if he's entering the 9th inning with a lead, you're probably leaving the 9th inning with that lead. So yeah, just another guy for Derrick's team to shut the door with if they enter a late game with a lead.
Yeah, I like this pick, and it completely ices Jason out of taking anybody on the Atlanta Braves in
Ha-Sung
this
Kim.
draft at all. That's tragic for him.
Those are the
but-
only two shortstops on my board. Joey Ortiz, who I took, and then Ha-Sung Kim, who I just locked Jason out of. I know Jason's not happy. There was a strategy.
Oh man, Jason did give me his next pick. Give me 1 sec. I will get everything squared away here. So the pick is in for him. And all right, I see your logic here. And actually, I'm not gonna lie, not to give my own commentary on the pick before it actually gets announced here, but your thought process is exactly how I view this guy long term. Ben Kasparius of the Los Angeles Dodgers going to Jason with his first pick of the second round. And he told me that he is making him a starter. And that's exactly how I view Ben Kasparius long term. So that's why I said that. But Hunter, your thoughts on Kasparius?
Yeah, makes sense to make him into a starter. Doesn't really need a ton of bullpen help at the moment, and this is a guy who 3 starts last year mainly came out of the bullpen, but a lot of multi-inning appearances, and another guy who, not to keep harping on this, but again, why I think the Michael Wacha pick was so good is you now have another guy who could give you really solid innings as a starter, but it's also not 100% guarantee. The very differing outcomes with him, considering he's never really done that in the majors. Those 3 starts last year he only made 3 other appearances his entire career, but 3 starts and 49 appearances in his career. So you don't 100% know what you're going to get from that, but there's a very high upside for him as a starter. So yeah, good high upside. I'll even say minimal risk pick, because if he sucks as a starter, you could always throw him back into the bullpen where he'll be a solid arm.
For sure. And honestly, the shocking thing to me, and I can talk about it because he's a guy that now can't get drafted, but the guy that I personally really like from the Dodgers and getting him in as a starter for me is Justin Robleski. And like, that is the guy that I was kind of eyeballing when we were talking about this. Cause when you guys brought this idea to me, I'm like thinking of who I would take from these teams as well. And like, for me, Justin Robleski is like become like my lefty reliever that I want the Red Sox to trade for and like somehow, some way make that work. Because he's a guy I think could start. And it's not just because he dazzled against the Red Sox when the Sox went there and hit their 2024 season died, but he's a very talented arm. But I like the Kasparius pick.
I was looking at Vesia. If I was looking at pitchers from the Dodgers, I was looking hard at Vesia.
Vesia is really good.
Jason
too.
taking Muncy in the first round threw me off of that, and then I got a couple other lefty relievers.
And okay. Derrik's second pick. He goes back to the rotation. Didn't know he had it in him. Taking Sonny Gray of the Boston Red Sox. So there you go, Craig. You've shed some salary. There you go, my guy. Now you can go sign it back.
Craig. I'm so sorry, Craig. Hey, if you want him back, I'll take I'll take Marcelo.
I don't think he
I don't think he will. That's kind of the point.
I don't think you like Sonny Gray that much, but
that's the point.
So yeah, Derrik now gets his second starter. Tyler Mahle and Sonny Gray are his front two. He's reassembling the 2021 Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah. Hey, they got rid of the crappy human being, and look at that. And they're all joining my team now.
That's true. And he's a free agent, so if you want to sign him at the end.
No, I'm good. No. Keep him far away.
You very much can.
Hell no.
What are your thoughts on the Gray pick, Hunter?
really good pick. He's been a above average starter basically his entire career. At this point in his career, not going to it's not like you're getting him for a long time. You're getting him for a good time. He's what, 36, right? 36, I think.
Yeah, I think he turns 37 at some point during the season.
Okay, so yeah, then he's 36. Sweet, I was right. But I mean, even at this age, he's still like, he had 201 strikeouts last year and 180 and 2/3 innings. He had 203 strikeouts the year before that. 4.28 ERA, 2.62 batting average against aren't the best numbers in the world, but all the under the hood stuff looked so much better than the ERA and the batting average against. And that's kind of amplified by his like 6 seasons prior to that all being much better than the numbers that he put up last year. And he'll like 3 straight seasons of 165 plus innings. Doesn't sound as sexy as it is, but like that's really good for today's MLB where you're not getting a ton of like 200 inning guys anymore. So having a guy who's going to get you, 32 starts, 28 starts, 32 starts, like he's a consistent guy in your lineup or in your rotation. Sorry. And he is a high middle arm. Like he's not a number 1, but he could be like a 2B. Like you don't want him to be your number 2, but he could be like in a group of number 2s, and that's not a terrible thing. And obviously in an expansion draft, you're not getting any true aces. That's just not happening unless you get a young guy and he turns into that. But for the most part, it's you're getting projects or you're getting established solid veterans, and there's not many better than Sonny Gray.
I've talked ad nauseum about Sonny Gray as like if we're talking just the 2026 season, like I know that report came out that some people in the Red Sox front office view him not too dissimilar from Joe Ryan for 2026. And I don't disagree with that notion. Like, I think they're very, like, if we look at the end of the year at their 2 seasons, I think they're going to be very similar. So if you are somebody that is of that viewpoint, not saying Derrik is, and I'm like, he needs somebody to headline his rotation. He fucking needs starters at some point anyway. Sonny Gray is definitely, top 25 arm in the game for sure. And an established guy. He's been to the postseason, getting guys like he's honestly, it feels weird to talk about him and say he's not too far away from Joe Ryan and then comp him to the Michael Wacha pick that Jason had in the first round. But like, you got to have a veteran. You got to have a guy who's been there, done that, won some awards. Sonny Gray is in that tier, and that's a very good pick for Derrik. Which brings us to Jason's next pick here, which is, let me play the sound. Jose Caballero of the New York Yankees. Going to be playing a lot of shortstop for them while Anthony Volpe ends up recovering from his shoulder surgery. And I see that you switched it to util / shortstop. Is that just kind of waiting to see where he's at, where you're at from a roster standpoint?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly my thinking.
Yeah. So Dudu's very valuable. I mean, he puts up 2 wins a season. It doesn't always look the same, but he had 97 WRC plus last year. Showed some power when he got to the Yankees, which was really annoying because he hit a home run off Garrett Crochet and made me very sad. Had a 134 WRC plus. That home run, I think, was on Sunday Night Baseball too, which made me even angrier. He was a very good Yankee, and a very annoying Tampa Bay Ray. Steals a ton of bags, plays good defense. Not the flashiest player in the world, but you have enough guys that accumulate 2 wins above replacement on your roster, you're gonna win some games. Hunter, your thoughts on Jose Caballero?
Like you said, crazy fast. 49 steals last year, 44 the year before. He's in like a weird echelon of player for me where like I don't think he would get protected in a draft, if there was an actual expansion draft. I don't think there are many teams that would protect him just because he's kind of who he is. Like, he's 29. He's probably not going to get better, but also I think any team would jump at the chance to have him on their team at the same time. It's when we started the expansion draft, he was very far out of my mind. Like, at no point was I thinking Jose Caballero. When he got drafted, I was like, damn, that's a really good pick. Just, you can plug him in at multiple positions defensively. He's the speed always is going to play. He seemed to have a lot of timely at bats this year. He was phenomenal for the Yankees, which was just about as annoying as it could get. To see him go over there and just put up phenomenal numbers. So yeah, I think he's someone who would fit really well on an expansion team as, again, you know what you're going to get with him. You know you're going to get decent on base percentage, a ton of steals, really good defense. And he's very much a plug and play kind of guy where you can throw him at multiple positions, but also I don't think it would really affect him if he wasn't starting. Like, if you told him halfway through the season, like, hey, you're now just kind of going to be the guy who you're playing second tomorrow, and then you're not going to play, then you're not going to play, then you're not going to play, and then we're going to have you play 4 games in a row at different positions. Like, I don't think that would mess with his rhythm just because of the kind of player he is. Like, he can get a hit by hitting a dribbler to the second baseman. And I think that makes a big difference when you have those guys that aren't going to play every day. It's easier for them to get in a rhythm because you don't ever have to worry about Jose Caballero swinging out of his shoes. You know, he's got 18 career home runs. Like, you're not worried about him trying to hit for the moon. He's going to get up there. He's going to try to get on base, and then he's going to steal a couple bags. Yeah, really good pick.
Jason, what is your line of thinking in addition to the wait and see how your roster shakes out before you stick him at a position?
I mean, he's just a ball player. You ever watch him? He'll make razzle-dazzle plays wherever he plays. And, like, I'm so upset he went to the Yankees because he's such a good baseball player. Loved him on my team. Defense wins championships, and Hunter said it best. Like, you know, like, I don't really have to start him if I don't want to. He's a perfect person off the bench. And, you know, as of right now, he's in my starting lineup, but there's a lot of potential there, and I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure. And looks like Derrik's pick is in. And here is where the bats come into play for Derrik. He is drafting Jorge Polanco, one of the newest New York Mets. They're signing him to play some DH and some first base. Derrik has him listed as DH/second base. That's pretty in line with where he's been his entire career. Had a really big 2025, jumping back into like relevance after a really bad 2024. And he got himself a pretty decent payday from the Mets. Now he's going to Utah. Exactly where he envisioned his 2026 being.
He can practice his soaking.
Especially when he signed with the Mets. He was like, I'm going to be in Utah one day. And yeah, all will be
There's
good.
some nature out there, right?
Is there? I don't know.
I don't know.
I've never fucking been to Utah.
Me either. I'm a remote GM. I don't know. I've never been to Utah.
Yeah, if you told me I had to go play in Utah, I'm packing it up.
Hey,
Retirement looks
okay.
Retirement looks really good right about now for Jorge Polanco.
Hey, he's getting paid $20 million a year, okay?
That's true. That's true. And the elevation that we did learn a little bit ago.
Exactly. Dude, Polanco might hit 35 dingers.
Yeah, he's done it
Maybe, I
before. He
don't
did it
know.
with Minnesota back in the juiced ball era, back when the Twins and the Yankees
No,
were
he-
going back and forth, setting
No,
the home run
it was
record.
post juice ball. It was 33 and 21. It was
Oh, I
post
thought he had a
juice ball.
big year in 19 as well. I thought he hit like almost 40
I
that year,
mean,
but I could be wrong.
22 homers
20.
and 40, but he did, or in 2019, but he had 40 doubles.
Oh, okay.
I mean, still from a second baseman, that's still really good. But yeah, I mean, he'll most likely DH for me because the defense isn't great. But he can still fill in at second if needed. Switch hitter as well, big one. Not a lot of switch hitters nowadays, and with Ronnie Mauricio not switch hitting anymore, I like having myself a switch hitter. I'm forcing Ronnie Mauricio to not switch hit. By the way, that's being forced.
Yeah,
He doesn't say.
yeah, 'cause it's definitely important to note that you are forcing him to not DH or to not switch hit anymore. It's not.
Hey, that's part of the agreement here. You come playing Utah hit dingers, and you're only going to hit left-handed. That's Ronnie Mauricio's agreement.
I'm sure he's okay with that as long as he gets the opportunity to play every single day at the major league level.
I'll pay him too.
Give him the Roman Anthony extension just right off the rip, despite not being anywhere close to that kind of player. Jason's next pick, outfielder Jahmai Jones of the Detroit Tigers. We have Rob Refsnyder at home. Jahmai Jones, really good against left-handed pitching, especially last year. I remember when he used to be like an actual thing, like where people were talked about him as like a future, like genuine contributor at the big league level. And then he like fell out of relevance. And then he had like a random week with the Yankees where he was ridiculous. And he actually was ridiculous last year for the Tigers. He had a 287, 387, 550 slash line with a 159 WRC plus in 72 games. By far the best marks of his career. His best season with at least 10 plate appearances. And as a rookie in 2020, he had 7 plate appearances with a 140 WRC plus. So he bested that season. So Jason, your thoughts on your own pick here of Jahmai Jones?
Let the man play. And Refsnyder, yeah, that's a great pick. But like last year, he had an insane September. I know the Tigers fell off, but like he still had an insane September against lefties. He had a 970 OPS in 122 plate appearances. So kind of a small sample, but like there's a lot to be intrigued there. Didn't play that much, but the times he did, he looked really good. All his homers came off against lefties. Very left-handed heavy with Abreu, Muncy, and then a few more, and but Mac too. But like, I think Jahmai Jones is a perfect fit for my team as a nice outfielder.
What do you think, Hunter?
My first thought is just on your Yankees point there. That's like a staple of the Yankees at this point is they will get some random, crazy, obscure, bad player. Obviously, Jones had a phenomenal 2025, but like this was 2024 Jones coming off a really bad start to his career, where they'll just get like a random week of insane play. And I feel like it's the Yankee Stadium effect where it's just like, oh, they get a couple cheap homers and people like, I don't want to say it because Red Sox fans are going to hate me for this, but Franchi Cordero, like he was not a good baseball player. He went to the Yankees and had that just insane like 2-week stretch where he hit like 400 with 6 homers, and Yankees fans were like, "Oh, Red Sox are so stupid. They got rid of him." And then he was off the team in 3 weeks because they were like, "Well, wait, never mind." But yeah, just a absurd come up from Jahmai Jones last year. Like played them in the most games of his career and rewarded the Tigers with just phenomenal play. So yeah, that's a good pick as someone who has earned a bigger role, and giving him a bigger role, you will probably be rewarded. Like imagine him producing the way he did last year with a 937 OPS and expanding that instead of 150 plate appearances, making it 450 plate appearances. Like that's all of a sudden a genuine all-star player. So that's asking a lot, asking him to keep that production up when tripling his plate appearances. But I mean, you'll never know if you don't try.
Yeah, and like to my initial reaction of Rob Refsnyder at home, Ref got like about 200 and something plate appearances last year and had a WRC plus of I think 130, somewhere in that range. Or that's kind of where he was with the Red Sox his entire time there. So even if it's not quite to the everyday player level of volume, he'll be productive in his role and just being a big leaguer for 162 as opposed to just the second half where he's constantly just playing against lefties.
And we did point out earlier how Jason was going very, very lefty heavy. So getting a guy who can mash against left-handed pitching is important.
For sure. And with that, Derrik has selected another starter, Dean Kramer of the Baltimore Orioles. Going to Derrik here, his third starting pitcher taken. All of them are righties, so I have to find a way to nitpick a little bit here. He's got no lefty starters now, so that's my new bit. But a guy who eats up innings for sure. That's kind of been his like calling as a big leaguer. He's never really flashed anything beyond that of the hashtag Chad innings eater role, but like that's an important aspect. Like you need guys that can eat up innings, and with a bullpen as dominant as Derrick's is, they're gonna be asked to handle a lot when it comes to putting together wins. So getting somebody that can give you 6 innings kind of as a floor is super valuable. Derrik, what are your thoughts on your own pick here of Dean Kramer?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Had I not taken Gavin Sheets, I probably wouldn't be taking Kramer. I was really looking at Ryan Mountcastle, liking maybe a high elevation would help him. But once I got Sheets, I kind of started zeroing in on Kramer as the guy to take from Baltimore, for me at least. And with him still being available here, he'll slot into the rotation. I don't know if he slots in I think as of right now, he probably slots in as the 2 behind Sonny Gray, which, I mean, Gray, Kramer, and Molly, I'm extremely happy with that, especially considering I didn't take a starting pitcher till whatever pick it was, I think it was 26th pick. I didn't take a starter until, so.
Yep.
So I feel like I've done very, very well. I still have to draft 3 more pitchers, and then until I hit my limit at 13, or 2 more pitchers and then a pitcher free agent signing. Because obviously 26-man roster, you can't have more than 13 pitchers.
Yep. What are your thoughts on the Dean Kramer pick here?
You're not getting much from me on this one. I'm very biased. I hate Dean Kramer because he completely buried my fantasy team last year. So I'm out on Dean Kramer.
That's your own fault for having him.
I mean, yeah, but it's AL. It was AL only. We switched leagues every year, so this year it'll be NL only.
Fair enough.
Late round. Ooh, he'll be a semi-decent starter, and the Orioles' offense is good enough. He'll pick up some wins. You can't win if you're throwing 2 innings every game, you bum. I'm mad. Again, next pick.
Hey, he threw 171 2/3 innings last year.
Yeah, because he farmed some wins or some good starts throughout the season. Doesn't help when nope, I'm done. Next pick.
Hunter's getting red. Let's move on.
I want to win that fantasy league so bad. And he blew it.
Jason's next pick, Austin Hedges of the Cleveland Guardians. We've got some catcher defense here going to Jason's team. Funny how I brought up that Kyle Higashioka was Austin Hedges with actual power, and then Jason actually takes Kyle Higashioka without the power. What are your thoughts on the Hedges pick, Hunter?
Yeah, just a really good backup catcher. Offense is basically non-existent. Sub 200 each batting average each of the last 2 years. Very well sub 200 batting average each of the last 2 years. But catcher is probably the position teams are most fine punting on when it comes to offensive production. So getting a good offensive backup catcher is kind of unrealistic for the most part. Like that was always the thing with fans. When fans wanted Connor Wong gone, it was like, realistically, how big of an upgrade are you getting? Like at the trade deadline, Red Sox fans were like, let's trade for a backup catcher. And it's like, how much of an upgrade are you really getting? And is it worth giving away assets? The answer is really no, it's not. And Austin Hedges
do you want to open up the can of worms that was the Danny Jansen trade?
I do not. I was very wrong about multiple trades that trade deadline, but I was right about that one.
You were.
I was very wrong about the relief pitchers. I thought they were slam dunk trades, but they were not. But Austin Hedges is just such a phenomenal defensive catcher. And that's all you can really ask for from your backup. Just go out there, once, maybe twice a week, and help the pitchers get through games. And if you want to throw in a hit every once in a while, that's awesome. But whatever, we'll stash you at
once in a while.
Yeah, we'll stash you in the 9 spot. And if you come up in a big spot late in the game, we can always pinch hit for you. But you're there to help the pitching staff be better.
Definitely. And I'll let Jason talk a little bit about his pick, and then I'll add to it if my point isn't brought up by him. Go ahead, Jason, talk about your guy.
I mean, he's the best defensive catcher in the league. Like, you can't argue with that. And
Patrick Bailey?
No, I'd rather Austin Hedges defense. You're such a Patrick Bailey stan, I know, but Austin Hedges is like, out of a backup catcher, like, you're not. You could have 2 number 1 catchers, but I feel like out of like the catchers available, I think Austin Hedges is probably one of the best picks. His defense, I loved. I think someone that the Red Sox should have targeted a while ago, but you know what you're getting out of him, and you're not getting any offense. You're getting like a single every other day. If he plays every day, you're getting a single like once every 3 days, but like whatever, you're getting good defense, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, and the one thing I also wanted to add to that was you have a catcher who hasn't played the major leagues at all.
Right.
So you add the veteran leader, can kind of show him how to be a big leaguer kind of vibe without having to show him how to be a big leaguer on the field. Because I mean, if he wants to learn learn from him defensively, for sure, but definitely getting more of your offensive production from Mac as your backstop there. But Derrik is on a heater with drafting pitchers. He's taken Shota Imanaga of the Chicago Cubs with his next pick. So he's now got 4 starters. And I would just to be completely honest with you here, I am 100% putting him above Dean Kramer. So congratulations, Derrik, on dropping Dean Kramer down in your rotation. For sure. Like, you 100% did that. So congratulations. What do you talk about your pick there, Derrik?
Imanaga is interesting because he's been very fastball heavy his entire career, even back in Japan. His fastball kind of sucks though. Very much a fly ball pitcher too, but I am wondering in terms of maybe pitch mix, maybe we move things around. I don't know if a sinker would be worth it for him, would be doable for him, but at the very least, throw the fastball left, rely a lot more on the breaking stuff and the off-speed stuff because it is really good between the splitter especially and then the sweeper. Both of those pitchers are really, really good. There's no reason he should be throwing his fastball 50% of the time. There's just no reason. 50% against lefties, 48% of the time against righties. There's no reason for him to throw his fastball that much. If he throws his fastball a lot less, let's just say, should be successful. And also, too, expiring deal. Worst case comes to worst. If my team's bad, I can move him at the deadline. Recoup some prospects because this is an expansion draft. Our teams don't have farm systems.
That's true.
There's also that. We don't have farm systems. So worst comes to worst, I move him at the deadline for prospects.
Might be shopping him before the season even starts to get some prospects. He does have a 3.28 career ERA though. So like again, to my earlier point of yes, I love some good under the hood metrics. He's a 3.28 ERA in 318 innings. That doesn't not count. Like
Yeah.
He definitely did that.
He's also a lefty, so take that, Jordan.
He is.
Yes, that's true. I no longer have a
I was
bit to use
planning on
against you.
taking him anyways, so
He is the opposite of Sonny Gray in that sense, where the in your face numbers are much better looking than the under the hood numbers. But I mean, like you said, he's thrown 318 innings and he has a 3.28 ERA. So like at some point it's under the hood numbers be damned. It's working out for you. But there is like that fear of things going very wrong for him. And like we saw the ERA take a pretty massive jump this year, even though the whip dropped a little bit. And then we saw him get shellacked in the playoffs. But again, for the most part, things have worked out very well for him. And I agree with Derrik. If you can get him to stop throwing that terrible fastball a little, even if he can just cut it down a little bit to like 35% of the time, I think that would make a massive difference. You could go like the Red Sox route early in the season where they were just not letting pitchers throw fastballs at all, unless you're named, Garrett Crochet or Aroldis Chapman. But like you could do that and basically get him to completely abandon it. But I think even if you cut it down a little bit, you'll see the numbers start to even out a little bit and tip more in his favor. And even if he keeps doing what he's doing, he'll at least be a decent enough arm because he's been solid his first 2 years in the league.
Definitely. He's definitely somebody that regardless I've got my eye on in 2026. It's weird to see, like, I'm not necessarily shocked he took the QO. I was more so shocked the Cubs offered it to him after being like absolutely not on his club option. Maybe they thought that he'd feel spurned by the declining of his club option or whatever, and he would say no to the QO, but like 22 mil is 22 mil. No guarantee.
I think they were banking on him saying no and then a team going after him. I think that was very much a slap. I don't want to say a slap to the face. I don't know what you would call it, but a shock to them.
Considering what Amai got, I mean, look, like with that retrospect, I mean, him not if he would have rejected the QO, I don't know what his
he would be kicking himself right now. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he'd probably not be signing for another 4 to 5 weeks, and it'd be for like 13 mil, and because you'd also have to factor in that the team would be forfeiting a draft pick, and I think enough last year for
teams away. Yeah.
No, I don't think he would have had much of a market, if any market, in 2026.
Which I wonder if teams, I'm sure they do, because the executives are smarter than I am, but I feel like they maybe don't take that into consideration enough sometimes. Like if I'm the Cubs, I'm thinking no team's going to want to sign Imanaga because of that. And his agent will probably tell him that, and he'll probably tell him, hey, just take the qualifying offer. But
yeah,
maybe they did want him to take the qualifying offer.
Well, the Cubs are maybe hoping he didn't take it, but would rather have him on the QO than the 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it, because they like we always. I think sometimes fans will react to the QO different, like we're like, oh my god, of course Trent Grisham's accepting the qualifying offer. Like the Yankees are so dumb, but like the Yankees are like, this is it sets a firm line. It's like, yeah, we like Trent Grisham for either like multiple years at a much reduced salary, or we'll take him for one more year at 22. Like notice how the Red Sox after 2024 didn't give the qualifying offer to Tyler O'Neill, but did to Nick Pivetta. I don't think they didn't give it to Nick Pivetta because they were like, or they gave it to Nick Pivetta because they were like, oh, I hope to God he doesn't take it. I think they were like, this dude's a super talented arm. We get him for one more year. Maybe it clicks for him finally in 2025. And it it did, not for the Red Sox, but it did in 2025. And then, for Tyler O'Neill, it's like, yeah, we can give him 22 mil, but then he has to do what he did this year, or he will not even come close to that level of production. And yeah, so we spent a lot of time on Shota. Let's move on to Jason's next pick, which is Chad Patrick of the Milwaukee Brewers, who gave up, not to make this about the Red Sox again, gave up Jarren Duran's hardest hit ball ever. So I've now poo-pooed 2 picks in this draft with Jarren Duran mentions, the Garrett Clevenger pick and the Chad Patrick pick. But I do like Chad Patrick a lot. Had 3.53 ERA in 27 appearances, 23 starts for the Brewers. Strikeouts were up. He had a 9.6 Ks per 9. 94% average fastball velocity. He's a solid arm. Moved him into the bullpen towards the end of the year and in the postseason. But a starter by trade and somebody that I don't know how many starters do you even have, Jason? Because I've lost track.
On my sheet, I have 5.
You have 5. Okay,
yeah.
So your rotation is buttoned up with this Chad Patrick.
Unless I take a starter and I put him in the bullpen.
That's true. You could do that as well. But explain your reasoning for Chad Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, so in terms of F4, he had this amongst available pitchers. He had 7. He was 7th. I think he had 2.7 F4. 2.6. 2.6. You know what you're getting out of him. Had a really good year. 23 starts, 19 2/3 innings pitched, 1.2 WHIP. There's a lot you could tweak. I'll leave that to my evaluators, but there's a lot of potential. 3.53 ERA, and as someone who was drafted by the Diamondbacks. Dang, I don't know that.
He kind of gives a Zach Godley vibe when I look at him, so it's not really shocking he was a D-back at one point. Which means the next time there's a pandemic-shortened season, he'll be a Red Sox.
I'm done talking.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood. That's ways away for being a thing again.
Hopefully. Well, yeah, excited. I'm excited for him, especially in the back end of my rotation.
Hunter, your thoughts on Chad Patrick?
I like the pick. I think he was really good last year. My one kind of unserious fear is just that the Milwaukee Brewers were the team that the baseball gods decided to bless last year, where just anything that could go right seemed to go right. Every year there's one team where it's just like, man, like, why is this guy good? Why is that guy good? Oh, they're winning games in the most absurd ways. And it seemed to be the Brewers last year. So there's just that little fear of, are things going to come crashing down to earth for them next year, where maybe some of these guys don't perform as well? But also, this was Chad Patrick's first season in the majors, so it's not like there was a resume behind him of like, oh, well, we can see that he severely outperformed. Like, it genuinely just seems like Chad Patrick might be a very solid arm. And he's still pretty young. You are getting him, in his late 20s. He's got obviously a lot of control left because of that. So you're getting someone who could potentially be part of your rotation for, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. And that gives you flexibility with some of the older guys like Michael Wacha. It gives you someone who's already proven a little bit more than some of the other younger guys that he took earlier, like Ashcraft. It's a nice mix of both, and someone who could start near the bottom of your rotation, and in 2-3 years, maybe he is, a number 2 in your rotation. So there's room for growth for him, but it seems like he's already set a nice floor.
Definitely. Cody Bradford of the Texas Rangers going to Derrik with his next pick. Back-to-back lefty starting pitchers in the big 2-6. I actually really like this pick. Cody Bradford, not a guy who throws exceptionally hard. Definitely more of a crafty arm. Only averages 90 miles an hour on his fastball. But last year, 8.3 Ks per nine. He hashtag says no to walks, which is a huge thing for me. Only a 4.2% walk rate last year. That was consistent with what he's been as a pro. He made 20 appearances in 2023. Missed all of 2025, by the way. So he had a 3.54 ERA in 2024. He missed all of 2025 with an elbow injury, but he should be in line for a normal spring training, but they're not 100% certain that he will be ready for opening day, if that makes sense. So like, it's like kind of the Yoshida effect where he'll play every time that he's scheduled to play, he will play. But you bet your ass that when it's opening day time, he's going to be going to the glue factory, and we may see him, we may not, but we'll see. We shall see.
I have Chase Silseth as a swingman.
There you go.
That pick is a lot more valuable now, considering I have Bradford and Molly, neither of whom can stay healthy.
Yeah, you dipped into the two, well, I guess now former in this reality Texas Rangers who don't stay healthy, with Molly and now Cody Bradford. Just to move this along a little bit quicker, because Jason has also made his next pick. We will move straight from Cody Bradford to Matt McLain of the Cincinnati Reds, going to Jason here with his next pick. Matt McLain set the world on fire when he debuted with the Cincinnati Reds, and then he got hurt, and he's been really bad as a major leaguer since, hence him being unprotected by the Reds, who have a ton of good young players. The problem is they have a ton of good young players, and a lot of them are starters, and you don't really want to just give away good young starters for nothing. So then that leaves somebody like Matt McLain, who was at one point a Rookie of the Year candidate, unprotected, and therefore now part of Jason's team. Hunter, your thoughts on the Matt McLain pick?
Awesome rookie season. Pretty significant sophomore slump, but I mean, 864 OPS in his rookie year gives you a very good base to work off of, and hope you can get him back to some form of that. Obviously, hoping he can be an 864 OPS guy his entire career is crazy. It's not unheard of, but my point being more, if you can get him even somewhere in between the two seasons, like if you can get him to his season or to his career average of like a 735 OPS, that's a very useful player still. Like that's still a someone who can contribute on a winning team, and he's still only 26. There's room to grow. 15 homers last year, 16 his rookie year, 18 steals last year. Like he gives you a little bit of everything. So yeah, that's a good pop from middle infielder, decent amount of speed, really good late round pick.
Yeah, I agree. Jason, your thoughts on your own pick here?
Yeah, I mean, someone who seemed to be lost after missing the whole 2024, right? And then coming back, doesn't really know. I mean, when he came back, I mean, the infield's stacked. Cincinnati has. But, like, at the same time, I think with him going to Nashville, he's going to get more opportunity, and he's going to get coaches to get him back on the right track, and hopefully he can be just as good, if not better, than what he was once before.
My eyes got all big here when I saw the name that just came across my screen, because that's a name right there that I completely had forgotten existed as a major leaguer. With Derrik's next pick, Austin Martin of the Minnesota Twins. Again, completely forgotten about him. Former top prospect. I want to say, was it with the Blue Jays at first?
Yes, 5th overall pick by the Blue Jays in his
and then
draft
he got
year.
traded for Barrios, right? He was in the Barrios trade.
Yep, for 5th overall pick in 2020.
He actually had a really solid season for the Twins last year. 50 games, a 113 WRC plus, had a 374 on base. So he was actually pretty solid for them. Just 2 home runs in 143 career games. So he puts the slap in slapdick. I almost said he puts the dick in slapdick, but that would have been interesting to say. That would have been an interesting. We're 3 hours in. Okay, give me a little bit of cut me a little bit of slack.
It's fine. It's fine.
Hunter saved me from myself. What are your thoughts on this pick?
I love Austin Martin. He's one of those guys. We were talking about it before we even started, and I mentioned how I have this weird love for Bryce Young. That's kind of how it is with Austin Martin. Like, not many people are gonna like go to war for this guy. Like, he's not putting up crazy numbers. He hasn't even really played a ton in the majors, but there's just something about him when I watch him play. It's just like I feel like there's something there. So I really like this as a high upside pick. Like, he's still 26 years old. There's still plenty of time for him to grow, get better. And I could see him being a very dangerous, top of the like leadoff hitter who just gets on base, steals some bases, and runs up the run total. He's not going to hit for a ton of power. He's probably not going to drive in a ton of runs, but if he can just continue to get on base, I think there's something in Austin Martin. So I think this is a really good potential pick.
Yeah, I didn't realize how good his command of the strike zone is, and he doesn't strike out, which is good. I mean, he's a guy who, again, like I said, he doesn't hit for power at all, which is 2 major league home runs, again, in 143 games, but a nuisance to face, and that's kind of the main thing here that really helps his cause. And even still, with the lack of power, he underperformed his expected stats last year. He had a 333 weighted on base average. That was a 342 expected. His expected slugging was 28 points higher than his actual 365. I know I had been saying that over the course of 162, like, you are what you are, but he, it's worth noting that there was a little bit extra. There was a little bit more than met the eye for what Austin Martin did in 2025. And to further talk about him as an expansion draft kind of candidate, like a guy to get picked, the Twins, even though they're kind of in that weird position where they kind of want to be the Rockies and not actually commit to a rebuild, but also rebuild at the same time, he doesn't really have much opportunity because they've got, obviously Buxton in center. They've got, who's the one of them retired? I always blank on if it's Kirilloff or Larnick that retired. I think it was
Kirilloff.
So they have Larnick. They still have Matt Wallner. They've got, obviously they've got a bunch of young prospects coming up that are in the outfield. Walker Jenkins and Rodriguez. They also have, in addition to on the infield, they brought up Luke Keeschel last year, hashtag Sun Devils legend. He was a beast for them. So not a whole lot of opportunities for Austin Martin. So he's very much a product to get taken in an expansion draft. We will move on to Jason's pick here, who is Tyler Rogers of the Toronto Blue Jays, the submariner that throws a crisp 83 miles an hour. Welcome back, Chad Bradford. Absolute demon. I love Tyler Rogers. He is so annoying to face. I remember back when he was like a 50 overall at MLB The Show, but everybody was like spamming him in Diamond Dynasty, and it made me sick to my stomach as somebody who also spammed him in Diamond Dynasty, because we don't see submarine guys. It's like a knuckleballer debuts, they're going to be thrown every game in Diamond Dynasty. Submariner debuts every game in Diamond Dynasty. That's what Tyler Rogers was, but he's more than a meme now. He's actually a stud, got a nice payday from Toronto, and now as a result of getting paid, you're going to Nashville, Buckaroo. It's a little bit more of an enticing spot than going to Utah, but still probably not what he had expected when he hit free agency this offseason. What are your thoughts on the Tyler Rogers pick here, Hunter?
Not too much to add, really. He's just really freaking good. He is super annoying to go up against. Just that's a phenomenal pick. He is 35 years old, but he has been lights out his entire career. You're going to get good outings from him basically every time he steps onto the field. So he spent his entire career with the Giants up until a couple months ago, and when he got traded to the Mets, then he goes to the Blue Jays, doesn't even get to pitch there, and he's shipped off again. So a guy that was loyal to a team for a while is all of a sudden on his third team in the last, or fourth team in his last 5 months.
Poor guy. Poor guy. He's still having an off season that's not like Carlos Correa, because Carlos Correa was on 3 teams that off season, so not quite the same. But Jason, your thoughts on your own pick here?
Yeah, really good player. I'm excited to see him. He got a payday, but like whenever I played him in the show, it was just weirdly so hard to like hit against. So, and like I almost said the F-bomb, but like has a strange delivery and produces ground balls at an alarming rate. And the stuff other than fastball velocity is up there in it. And someone who is going to bring veteran experience to some of these young guys I got on this team, which I hope they don't all have arm angles like he does, because they'll, oh God, that'd be terrible. But I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, he basically throws the ball from the ground. Like he's like a true submarine arm, which just adds to the deception. And he doesn't strike guys out, but like you said, 62% ground ball rate last year. He's a freak. It's his second year with an ERA under 2. His worst year in like a full season was 2022, where he had a 3.57 ERA. So that's the kind of guy we're working with here. His floor is like good middle reliever. His ceiling is very good middle reliever, but he does have some closing experience. He had 13 saves in 2021. He's just a good arm to have. Different look as well, which is nice. But yeah, we're coming down to the wire here. The final 6 picks, 3 for each of our GMs, and then we'll wrap this up. I'm running on fumes, man. I'm dying over here. Oh man. I thought that maybe I'd get a little bit of a second wind watching some Josh Dobbs quarterbacking, but alas, I was incorrect.
It was taken away from you too soon.
It was taken from me because at the same time I had to watch Trey Lance play quarterback for the other game that mattered for me today.
That'll suck the wind out of you real quick.
Yeah, it was brutal. Just an absolute disaster. A whirlwind, so to speak. I think I've been invited to go to the Chargers game next week, and like, no, I'm just can't. No, that's too much money to risk watching a season end. While we wait for Derrick's next pick, I'm just curious. Have you how many playoff games, regardless of sport, have you been to, Hunter? Also, like, what's your stance on actually paying to go to a postseason game?
I think 0.
That's the right way to do it.
0 playoff games, not counting like Lafayette postseason games, which I don't think counts because that's college football. And my brother coaches there, so I'm not paying for tickets. I'm also just not a big football in-person fan. I think football in front of a TV is so much better than football at the stadium. I think baseball is great at a ballpark. I like basketball at a stadium, although I'd usually rather just watch it at home. I'll go to like if the Pelicans are playing the Sixers, because that's the only time I'm going to get to see the Pelicans. But yeah, I'm 90% of the NFL games I've been to, it ends up being like 3 degrees, and I'm like, this just sucks. Like, this just isn't fun. This is miserable. I went to a Jets Falcons game one year when both teams were not good, and the final score was like 12-3, and it was so cold that people were just hanging out in the bathroom at halftime.
It makes me so mad. Like, why can't bad teams, when they face each other, like put up like a slugfest? It always is the worst football game you've ever watched. It can never, like,
yeah, it's
like,
never
I remember
bad
last
defense.
year.
It's always bad offense.
Didn't the Rockies beat the Pirates in a game last year, like 19-17? Like, if like two bad football teams face each other, it is always like no scoring.
Yeah. Yeah, like if it was 42-38, I probably would have had a blast. That would have been
Literally the
like, hey,
greatest
this is
game
awesome.
ever. Two shitty teams.
Sean Green's out here running for 300 yards. This is awesome.
But no. In the big 2-6, you get two bad football teams on your screen. It is going to be a disaster to watch. Like and every single time that there's a toilet bowl, I always sell myself on the like, hey, maybe this will be a fun game. And like Tyler Shuck, to his credit, had a few good games this year where it was like the Saints actually looked like a formidable team.
Yeah.
Or like a functioning team. And that made those games a little bit more palatable. But yeah, no, it's just we're finally hopefully past the point of there just being disgustingly terrible football on our TVs. And then we get to move on to Red Sox Northeastern in almost a little bit more than 6 weeks at this point. Just absolutely beautiful. Is okay. We got.
I always say my least favorite thing about like the holidays ending is at least when it's cold out, like before Christmas, I'm like, oh, look, Christmas is coming. Like the holidays are fun. But once it's over, it's like now I'm looking forward to spring training, which is like a good 2 months away. And it's like, that's a long time to be waiting. And now it's like, it was like 12 degrees today. And it was like, there's just nothing positive about this. Like I'm sitting here like, man, I can't wait for the Red Sox Northeastern game. Woo! Hate it.
Hey man,
looking forward to that. So like genuinely looking forward to the baseball kicking up again. But
hey man, I would absolutely, I could definitely go for some Red Sox Northeastern, to be honest. I really could. And then in 7 years we can talk about how that guy struck out Roman Anthony in a spring training game. But
who was that? It was
Aaron
they struck out
Savali.
David Ortiz, right?
It was Aaron Savali.
Okay. And it was Ortiz though, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I think he struck out Ortiz and Napoli.
That's awesome.
So that was I mean, hey, if there was ever a sign that he was going to be a big leaguer, it was probably then.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, Derrik, why'd you do this to me?
I'm sorry. I went to originally pick someone, and then I realized they were protected. After I picked them as well.
Jake, not Magnum, Mangum, the next pick.
I didn't know who to pick. In all honesty,
it's all good. I mean, he's a guy who he puts the dick and slap it.
Yeah, seriously.
Austin Martin puts the slap.
He's gonna run. Hey, he's gonna run pass. He's gonna play defense, and I had nobody else to pick. I was gonna take Matt McClain or David Schneider, and Jason took McClain, and then he took Tyler Rogers, which blocked me from taking Schneider.
That's where I guess the strategy really comes in the second round. Then, like that's where it kind of, because then you're up against it both roster construction wise and the team crunch, because you can't even pivot really to another team necessarily. For that, yeah, Jake Mangum. I have no words for you, to be honest.
I'm just gonna have to add Austin.
Keep him away from the Red Sox, and I'm happy.
Austin Martin's probably gonna have to play some second base here, unless Jorge Polanco plays second. But his defense is too scary. There's a reason I put left field / utility on Austin Martin.
Yeah, he's going to be playing literally everywhere on the field for you. Might even have to play multiple positions at once.
No, I'll play both my center fielders.
I think you still need a fifth starter. He might have to pitch for you.
I have 5 starters.
Oh, you do? Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
then.
Molly, Gray, Kramer, Imanaga, Bradford.
Oh, right. My brain went away for Cody Bradford because he may not. He's in the Yoshida factory right now. Unfortunately, I mean you do have Silseth too, I guess. So
yeah, and I still have one potential pitcher spot open.
Right, for a nice little free agent pickup. Okay, so we got Jason's next pick. Give me 1 sec to get the graphic up there.
I'm just happy Jake Mangum is not going to face the Red Sox 12 times this year, 20 times this year.
Seriously, we only have to deal with him for one series, is it?
Yep.
when the Sox go to PNC in August. Sounds right. May not be right, but that sounds right to me.
Hey, and Utah's a National League team, so
only one series a year of Jake Mangum in this reality as well. It's beautiful. And Jason's next pick is Dominic Canzone of the Seattle Mariners. I actually really like this pick. I like Canzone a lot. He had a pretty decent, he became part of their like postseason roster last year. 141 WRC plus for him. Kind of surprising that he didn't get protected, but the Mariners also are a team that has 1 million young pitchers. Like you're not going to expose Brian Wu. You're definitely not going to expose George Kirby. So like that's where again, a guy like Canzone becomes available. Hunter, some of your thoughts on the Canzone pick?
I'm a big fan of Canzone, honestly. He is one of those guys who I feel like if he had I don't know how to word this. If he had a bigger role, I think that he could he's in a weird spot where it's like he gets to play to his strengths in Seattle, where it was like, he's only going to go up against right-handed hitting or right-handed pitching. But I would like to see him get a chance to just kind of be out there. Like 82 games last year, 839 OPS, 11 home runs, 32 RBIs. Like the numbers were phenomenal. And I'd be intrigued to see if a full, 140 games, 450 plus plate appearances, would he kind of be able to keep that production going, or would it be like, all right, well, now that he's out there every day, some things get exposed. But either way, if you nearly double his plate appearances from last year, it's hard to imagine he's not, closing in on 20 home runs. He's not closing in on 60-ish RBIs. Like there would be upside either way. But if you have the ability to just kind of keep him in this role where you're using him in situations that put him in a spot to succeed, that's just a really, really, really good bench bat to have, and someone who I think will have those stretches that have fans wondering, why isn't this guy playing every day?
Definitely, Jason. Let's hear from you on your pick here.
Similar, you saw I have outfield / DH. Another let's see how things play out move. But he became a vital part to Seattle's playoff push at the end of the year, right? That 300 in 269 plate appearances, pretty good. 839 OPS, 481 slug, 358 on base. Really solid numbers. And for a team that I need a DH, that is not the best fielder, but would slot perfectly. Maybe a day, maybe once a week, can play an outfield spot. Works for me.
And Derrick's next pick is Joe Boyle of the Tampa Bay Rays. Thank you for getting him out of the American League East as well. I'm tired of hearing about him as like a concept of being like a very good player. And I think he can be. Like he's definitely got the stuff to do it. He's just another one of those guys where command leaves him quite frequently, and that's kind of been his Achilles heel. But he did have an outing against the Red Sox this year at Fenway when the Red Sox went on that 10-game winning streak into the All-Star break, where he pitched really well for like 4 or 5 innings, and then the Red Sox kind of got to the bullpen after that. But he's a guy who's got some really good stuff. Lowered his arm slot in 2025. You just got to keep him in the strike zone, really, or around the strike zone, because he's so nasty that he can get swings and misses. He's got to be around the strike zone. Derrik, give me your thoughts on your pick here.
Yeah, I do. I like the Boyle pick. Throws hard, really good stuff. I remember it was shocking when the Rays. I mean, not the when the A's traded him to the Rays. It was like you're giving this guy to the Rays. Like what? And he didn't have the craziest years, but he's also a guy can come out of the bullpen, can start, do a little bit of both. Throw, like I said, throws extremely hard. Might be best suited for the bullpen in all honesty, but can also give length and a little bit of a swingman role, similar to Chase Silseth. And like I said, like we've mentioned a couple of times, with me having Tyler Mahle and Cody Bradford in my rotation, I might need innings from other guys. So chuck Joe Boyle into the list of other guys.
He is definitely one of the other guys. Hunter, your thoughts on the Joe Boyle pick?
I think you said it best. Just a guy who, when he's on, and when things are going bad for him, it can get really ugly. So he's not someone you're going to be able to rely on the entire season, but he will give you stretches of being one of your better options for, even if it's just for a couple weeks. He'll give you a nice boost at some point, but there's other points where you might have to try to work around him.
Yeah, again, it's just a matter of keeping him in the strike zone or around the strike zone. If he's there, he should be good. If he's not there, which has often been the case for his career, he's a little bit harder to deal with. But again, for like an expansion team, again as well, as another point, like that's exactly what those teams are going for, is guys who are very toolsy, but maybe hasn't necessarily put it all together yet. And for him, gets another opportunity here in Utah. It's always fun to me thinking about there being a team in Utah. Just the concept of it is just so fun to me. But on to Jason's next pick here, which is Steven Okert of the Houston Astros. Another lefty reliever going to Jason here. And I actually like Okert a lot. Kind of shocked. I mean, maybe not so much with securing one of the few good members of the Colorado Rockies and Bernie, and then obviously getting Gabe Spire as well. But like from a lefty reliever standpoint, Jason's very set here with his lefty relievers. Hunter, your thoughts on this pick?
Yeah, he's definitely. I mean, both bullpens. Again, it's a point I made much earlier in the live stream, but it amazes me, and I guess it shouldn't, just how many good relievers would be up in a expansion draft, just because those aren't the guys that people are going to protect. But Okert, 3.01 ERA and 71 2/3 innings, sub 200 batting average against, sub 1 WHIP, struck out a ton of people, didn't walk a lot of people. Like this is a genuine, you can rely on him in late game situations arm. And like he did it all year last year, like 68 games. It's not like he 71 2/3 innings. It's not like he was out there throwing once every week and finished the year with 25 innings pitched. Like this was a guy who was called on a lot and continuously answered. And yeah, that's a phenomenal late round pick to, I'm assuming, close out your bullpen. Jason, am I wrong there? Yeah. Okay.
He's high leverage, but like still.
No, sorry. I meant like, is that your last bullpen piece?
Yeah,
like you're not.
My last. I have 13 pitchers, so my next one has to be a position player.
That's a really good way to end your pitching.
That takes us to the final pick of Derrick's draft here. It is Casey Schmidt of the San Francisco Giants, a team that really needs to improve their infield core, especially at second base. But Schmidt is somebody that's kind of fallen out of favor there. I don't want to say they've lost patience with him necessarily, but they're definitely in a position where they would probably prefer to upgrade at that spot. Although they haven't really done a whole lot this this offseason in general. Now they've lost 2 players to Derrick's team.
Well, the one thing that Casey Schmidt does is he can play all over the infield, and with him and Austin Martin, they're going to need to play all over the infield because, I mean, Polanco can play a little bit second base. Maybe I will try him at first just because Gavin Sheets and Casey Schmidt are the only guys who can play first base, unless I wanted to play Sean Murphy there, which I don't know why I would. So maybe Polanco will get a little bit of run at first base after all, but Schmidt being able to play all 4 infield spots that aren't catcher was very crucial to me here. And I'm looking back, I know I really shouldn't have picked Jake Magnum, but I freaked out and I was taking forever. So
freaked out.
I didn't know who to take. I legitimately did not know who to take.
That feels like a very good representation of like probably the Pirates thinking when they got him in the trade. They're like, I freaked out. We needed another player. We'll take Jake Mangum. Why not? Why not? And that takes us to the final pick of the draft. Adolis Garcia, the newest Philadelphia Philly, goes to Jason with the final pick of the draft.
See, I should have taken Edmundo Sosa over Mangum because this he can play second and third.
Yeah, but I mean, at least Mangum's also like a really good defender. Like not to spread
but I need an
Mangum propaganda here, but like
but I do need an infielder though. I already have in my outfield. Martin can play the outfield. He primarily played the outfield, played left field more than anywhere last year. Then I have Myers, Meadows, and Young. So the 3 of them, I know I said I was going to platoon Myers and Meadows, but like sticking one of them in right field sounds very good to me.
So with that, well, I guess we should talk a little bit about Jason's last pick. Back to Jake Mangum. Obviously a guy.
I think we take on the clock off.
Yeah, obviously an NLCS or an ALCS MVP rather has a walk-off home run in the World Series. A guy who's got a track record of being a good big league hitter, has not really replicated that since the 2023 season. He kind of looks like, I mean, a lot of the Rangers sold their souls for the 2023 season. He seems to be the latest installment of that, but now he's got a fresh start in Philly and actually really Nashville. So nice little get butts and seats sort of pick up there for you, Jason, to round out your draft.
He only had 19 homers last year, but he had 25 plus in the 4 seasons prior to that. So like this is a guy who still absolutely has a ton of power. And if you can get him back to 25 plus, like that's a really good guy to have, just stashed. Like the last pick of the draft to get someone with legitimate power like that is really solid.
Yeah, definitely. Jason, your thoughts on your final pick here?
Yeah, I'm fan favorite. I needed someone else, and my options were very, very thin, to say the least. I could have taken Edmundo Sosa, but no.
Did head size come into play here at all?
A little bit. Neck size too.
Freaking mega mind.
But I'm excited for Adolis. I have quite a few outfielders, but beware of trades.
Beware of trades. You also have the DH spot. You can't forget about that. You can always stash somebody there. Adolis is still, if nothing else, a good defensive outfielder. So like when the Phillies signed him, I thought it was interesting because they're putting basically $30 million into right field, and they basically got, from a value standpoint, another Nick Castellanos, but it's a Nick Castellanos who can actually field and right. So like if we get a little bit of a return to normalcy for Adolis Garcia offensively, that's one of the better high upside signings of the winter. But yeah, so how are we doing this free agent thing? Are we doing this off stream? Or
nope, we're doing it live.
We're doing it live. We'll do it live.
Jason and I will both send you our free agent offers. If we select the same person, you must decide, Jordan, as commissioner, who made the more fair offer for that player. If we select 2 different players, we each get that player, albeit the offer still must be a fair free agent offer. So I can't just go
I get to
give.
play God here. This is nice.
Yeah, I can't give. Now, there's nothing that's stopping us from overpaying, but if we underpay, you have the ability to veto it and say no. And then if that's the case, we then would have to go after a different guy.
Okay, but let's say you both go after the same guy.
Yes.
If you offer 10 years, $2 billion and Jason offers 10 years, 300 million.
We have to stay under the luxury tax.
Okay, I was going to say, I didn't want there to just be like, oh, I'm going to offer an ungodly amount, so I definitely get my guy.
I mean, hey, you could want to give Ranger Suarez 10 years.
You could, but like you'd also be dumb. I mean, you can. Nobody's stopping you. Like nobody stopped the Padres from giving Bogarts 11.
Yeah, that is true.
It is. Right. It is funny if you would offer Xander Bogaerts that if we were doing this when he was a free agent and you offered him the Padres contract, I'd probably be like, all right, guys, let's keep it realistic.
Let's keep it realistic. And then it's like, oh shit, the Padres actually gave him that. So I guess in a way, there is no, like with AJ Preller still, at the controls of a team. Is there such thing as overpaying a free agent in this?
I guess not.
I'm more realistic.
It's not about overpaying. It's more about underpaying. We can't. We can't give Alex Bregman 1 year for $1.
Hey, Craig Breslow might.
That's different.
All right, gents. The floor is yours to submit your offers to me. I will await. I've got Jason's, so I'll wait to see if Derrik has.
You can send it to Hunter if you want.
Yeah, I will.
I'm just trying to figure my maths out.
Alrighty, so we'll see if. All right, no, you guys went with two different players. Let me send it to. I was really hoping you guys would send the same player. To be honest, that would have made it so much fun. That would have made it so much fun.
I was very much considering Bichette, but I've had my eyes on this one player pretty much since the beginning.
Still wouldn't have been the same guy.
I figured it wouldn't have been.
I know who Derrick's doing, but I didn't do him because
who do you think I'm doing?
I thought you did Kyle Tucker.
Yeah. I need a right fielder.
Right.
There's a reason I didn't take a right fielder. I thought that was kind of obvious.
I almost did it. I should have done it to screw with you.
Well, just wait till you hear what I offered him.
Yeah. So I think these are
Read
very
Jason's
reasonable.
Offer first.
Yeah. So I'll go with Jason's offer here. He is offering Alex Bregman 6 years, $198 million. So that's $33 million per season. The 198 made my eyes explode for a second, and then I'm like, oh, 33 million is really not like that insane.
If you're realistic on every free agent, you'll finish third on every free agent.
And you're an expansion team, so you have to be extra ridiculous with your free agent offer.
We're gonna lose revenue sharing.
Yeah, you're like, okay. So I think that's definitely, like, again, you're not underpaying him by any stretch of the imagination here. So I think that's more than acceptable. I'm not gonna. I guess I should probably tweet the graphic as well, right?
Yes.
And now everyone's got to retweet it. Alex Bregman just signed with the Nashville.
Yeah, people are gonna freak
Kyle
out.
Tucker signs with the Utah Talons, and Jordan thinks my offer is fair, which I would assume he'd
be hilarious if he turned down your offer.
There's no way.
Why? Hold on. I gotta tweet it.
Hey, there's my middle of the order bat. That's also why I was scrambling to figure out a second baseman who didn't hit left-handed, because I was gonna take Richie Palacios. When I ended up taking Mangum, I was gonna take Palacios, and then I'm like, ooh.
We wouldn't have been able to take Palacios. Oh no, were they the same round? Everything's kind of lumping together at this point.
No, I took Boyle after.
Okay, because I was gonna say if you took, because you have had Boyle, you wouldn't have been able to take Boyle then.
Yeah, but I took Boyle after 2 picks after Mangum. Like that was my next pick.
All right. So then the offer that Derrik is making to Kyle Tucker is 12 years, $400 million. And what's the math on that?
33.3.
33.3. I think for 12 years, it's probably not that out of the realm of possibility he get only 33 mil. Because I think with Kyle Tucker, it seems like his market is so small that he'd be like the prime candidate, get like 2 for $100 from someone.
Yeah.
That's where my brain is with Kyle Tucker. So the thought of him only getting 33 mil a year has like made my brain not it doesn't compute in my brain the same way. But I think if we're going 12 years, I think 33 mil a year is more than fine. The question is, would he take it? Would he take 12 for 400 as opposed to 2 for 100 to go play for like the Mets or the Dodgers or return to the Cubs? Again, I don't want to play God here too much. It was fun. It was fun when I thought that maybe you guys would submit the same free agent.
Unfortunately,
but unfortunately, you guys did not. I think that's a fair offer. So I will tweet the Kyle Tucker signing for you as well.
So Jordan texted me the offers, and he said like Kyle Tucker 12 years, 400 million, and now my phone is telling me like to Apple Pay Jordan $400 million.
I mean,
you greedy bitch. You greedy bitch.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh my god.
I mean, hey man, StreamYard's expensive. Oh, forgot to put the graphic in there. Sorry about that, Derrik. Give me one sec.
It's good.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm just saying, if you want to send me that kind of coin, you're more than welcome to. Just
I'll post my Venmo and see if people want to send me some money.
What,
so
like
I can raise
MJF
this,
and then
'cause-
like MJF, and then everyone just asks him for money.
oh man. So yeah, that's that. We'll make like graphics for the like draft recap. Well, not the draft recap, but like we can make a graphic for like each team's depth chart or each team's roster, so to speak, and post those tomorrow.
I got my potential lineup if we want to roll through that.
If you want to, but we are coming up on 4 hours here.
No, I know.
It is a Sunday. It is Sunday night.
Oh no, it'll be quick.
Right.
I have Myers, the Myers Meadows platoon leading off. Then Polanco, Tucker, Murphy, Sheets, Mauricio, Mangum, Schmidt / Austin Martin, and then Joey Ortiz. And then Jacob Young's on my bench. It's just always on the bench.
He's just always there, ready to pinch run.
Perpetually on the bench.
Pinch run in defensive sub.
He is chronically left out.
So remember how I said Gavin Sheets might play left field? I don't think he is. I think he needs to play first base.
Yeah, I think so too. Unless you want to put Casey Schmidt there. I mean, you can always do that.
Can,
he is a 220-pound second baseman, so maybe.
Well, no, I have to either play Polanco at second base, or I could put Austin Martin there.
Yeah,
I could even put Mauricio there and play Martin at third. But
it gets weird. It gets weird.
It's not the worst though. I'll take it.
Jason, you have an idea of your lineup just to kind of put a bow on it?
I will get back to you on that.
Okay, so we'll post those tomorrow.
Yeah, at least my bullpen's nasty.
Yeah, you definitely have a good bullpen. I will give you that. Leads after 5 are pretty safe, I would say. But yeah, thanks to everybody for tuning in to this expansion draft. I hope you had a lot of fun. It's definitely we're definitely deep into the off season.
Seriously,
definitely deep into the off season, and there was no signings at all. One thing that I thought was interesting, because we talked about this when Okamoto signed, while we were talking about, we're kind of setting up how we're going to do this. We removed Nathan Lucas from the protected list for the Blue Jays. I was kind of shocked that he didn't get taken. Granted,
Well,
You know.
I think I needed a right fielder, but I was saving my right field spot for Kyle Tucker.
Fair enough.
And then with Mauricio not switch hitting anymore, him and Sheets were already two lefties plus
Yeah.
Meadows when he platoons. So
And Nathan Lucas is a 40-year-old sophomore in the league. So, but yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed. If you stayed the entirety of this 3 hour and 40-minute stream, your family must fucking hate you. You s- you skipped out on Tarico and Collinsworth. You didn't put the kids to bed. You stayed here with us and listened to us talk about Jake Mangum. So
I don't think you'd have kids.
You're a special kind of sicko. You're a special kind of sicko.
We love you though.
We do love you. I didn't mean for that to come off as mean as it did. It wasn't like wow, your family hates you. It was like
wow, Jordan hates our audience.
It was
wow. Scandal of the year already.
No, it was more along the lines of what's the word? You foregoed a Sunday with your foregoed doesn't sound like a word.
Forwent.
Is that a word? That doesn't sound like a fucking word either. You didn't spend a Sunday night with your family and they got school and work tomorrow and you were here with us. You must be very upset. Tomorrow's Monday.
But I don't go back. My classes don't start till the 20th. That's why.
Everything's about you.
Well, I'm talking about the children here, Derrik. Come on.
Yeah, well, down here they don't go back to school for like another week because I'm in Florida. They don't go back.
Florida man. Only the Florida man drafts Jake Mangum in an expansion draft.
And Joe Boyle.
Anyway.
And only takes relievers in the first round.
Yeah.
Relievers and defense.
Relievers and two of his first three picks are platooning outfielders. Sicko. That's the Florida man at the controls, ladies and gentlemen. But yes. Thanks to
someone tell the Rays to hire me.
Appreciate you two coming up with this idea. It was really a very fun exercise to do because like that's something that's gonna probably be on the docket, maybe if not this CBA, the next one, because there's too many. It's like there's too many good baseball players, not enough roster spots, and we're not expanding the rosters again to 20 to 28 or 30 because then those guys still won't play. But it's definitely something to keep on the back burner, and we'll see how we decide who had the better draft when all is said and done. Something we can check back in on at various points throughout the 2026 season. But anyway, we have said enough. It's been 3 hours and 46 minutes. That'll do it for this edition of the Pesky Report. For Derrik, Jason, and Hunter, I'm Jordan. Till next time, peace out and go Sox.